Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. I'm starting this goddamn podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 739. It is December 15th, 2022. I'm your host this evening, Nick Henderson, and I am joined by Ed Mitchell.
Hello, everyone. You guys missed an excellent pre-show. If you weren't here watching us live, we talked about all sorts of shit, both literally and figuratively.
Yep. We took a deep dive into Brad's gastrointestinal issues.
And maybe his kinks.
Maybe his kinks. We're still trying to figure that out. It involved fingers and buttholes. Also joining us tonight is it's conversations like this that always make me pause when I'm setting up the show and like getting ready to like post it online. There's a checkbox for like, is it an explicit show or not? Does anybody have an opinion as to whether I should be checking explicit or not? Because like, we're not like.
I think as long as we don't say fuck, it's okay.
But we.
Shit.
Thanks, Ed. All right. Sorry. Also joining in this evening is Krispy. Hello, Krispy. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Is anal a kink? I thought everybody was into it.
I think having doctors put their fingers up your bum is a little bit of a kink.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a different thing.
Especially requesting it.
Is medical play a kink?
Knocks like bread.
I thought everybody was into it.
Calling me and asking me these things. Also joining us is Christopher Davis.
Hello, Nick. I think this is the point in which you actually do the explicit tag.
No, I really think it is. I've been giving this a lot of thought lately because I kind of actually go back and forth because I'm like, am I doing this right or wrong? I probably should have just asked somebody a long time ago. But I think explicit means like the subject matter of the show is intentional. Like we're not having like adult conversations.
No, it means cursing.
The topic of the show is video games, which is not explicit.
But we talk about for kids.
On the Apple podcast, it's cursing, yeah.
Oh,
or adult content,
Okay. Well,
I don't think talking about doctors is adult content.
Medical.
You're right, but we do drop the F-bomb quite frequently. Brad is also joining us this evening. Brad, hello.
Hello. I didn't already say that?
Oh, no, I usually start with you, but I went the other way. I introduced Ed because it's been a while since he's been here, and then I went the other direction. So you were last this week.
Fallopian tube. That's what I wanted to say when you said F word. Sorry.
Welcome to what is, I'm guessing, probably the last regular show of 2022. Quick little bit of housekeeping. Next week is I think we're going to end up taking next week off because we're getting pretty close to the Christmas holiday. And then on the 29th, we will return with our 2022 award show, which will be a little bit different, notably different than years past. I don't know if, Brad, you want to say anything about that at all on the show. You were kind of talking about it a little bit in Discord.
What are we talking about? Game of the Year award?
The award show. Yeah, the award show. I mean,
we're just going to try to do it in like one normal sized podcast instead of two super long shows or whatever, like we've been doing every year. So we're just sort of adjusting the categories and the format and all that stuff, and it should be.
And we're going to do. So we're kind of debating right now, actually, as to whether or not. Because we usually do a winner, a runner-up, and then honorable mentions. We're going to do a winner, and right now the question is, do we do a honorable mention, or do we just... Crispy seems to think we should have some conviction and just, we have a winner and that's it.
Oh, I've always hated honorable mentions and runners-up. I feel like...
but that's... I mean... Yeah, but when you play like 50 games like Nick, you want to talk about them.
I think
we've been talking about them all fucking year, dude.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, but you want to give lip service to the ones that deserve it. But yeah, I mean, not having a runner-up is big because runner-ups, typically we spend as much time talking about the runner-up as we did the actual winner.
Yeah.
Well, honorable mentions are supposed to be like we talked about maybe saying nothing, just the titles, but like 1 or 2 sentences, and that's it. So
Having
if
the
we get rid of
runner-up-
runner-ups completely, or I mean, yeah, and just have like we each say our winner, the full lip service, and then we just go around the room and throw out some honorable mentions, and then move on. I think
Having the
that's how
runner-up
we'll
where
do
like,
it this year.
or even the winner where it matches someone else's winner, like that's where the gym conversations happen, where like two people are talking about the same game, you know.
But we are so different. Like, Brad's the only one here who's going to talk about Vampire Survivor. I'm sorry, I don't know why
Why would you do that?
I'm not.
I
don't
no,
know
that's
why I'm
not
doing
true.
that. I know it's a joke. I'm memeing. Okay.
Like,
But yeah. Anyways,
you were on the side of the people. You were the vast minority, Nick, when you're talking shit about Vampire Survivors. I just want
I'm
you
not.
to know
I don't
that.
have the right to
There's
talk
not
shit
many
about
people like you out there.
That's basically how Hitler argued.
Well, no, there's a whole world against Hitler.
Well, yeah,
But-
true, but that's not what he said. It's a
But
journalist.
my point is, I don't have the right to say anything one way or the other about Vampire Survivor. I've merely commented on my general lack of interest in playing it. But whatever, that's neither here
Mostly
nor there.
because it's ugly. Oh,
Mostly because it's
you,
ugly.
You brought it. You. I said this thing in Discord, and I was like, if this game was beautiful, you would absolutely play it. And you were like, no, I would not. I would feel the same way, and that's a fucking lie.
No, it is not a fucking lie. Do you know why?
No,
Do you know why?
It is because you like to find the few indie games like the Tunics or whatever. Like, oh, I'm gonna play God of War
But
and
I
Dead
could tell
Space and all
you-
this bullshit, but I'm also gonna play Tunic, right? But like, you're
This-
looking for those.
I feel like
If
he's called me
Vampire
out for-
Survivors was really beautiful, it would have been one of the ones that are like, all right, let's see what this little game's all about.
I want you to know there are plenty of beautiful indie games out there that just don't jive with me.
I know.
The first thing
I
that
know,
comes to mind is I could not get into
it's-
Kentucky Route Zero. Could not do it.
Sure, but Kentucky Ride Zero was not a phenomenon like Vampire
I feel like
Survivor.
it was. I feel like.
No.
Not in the same way. Not in the same way.
Millions and millions of people have played Vampire Survivor. It's like a bona fide phenomenon.
Nick,
this
you
year.
know how Brad and I butt heads, right?
I've-
We're not butting heads on this. We absolutely almost 100% agree on this game. It is
I respect both
Yeah,
of
pretty
y'all.
fucking good.
I hate it when
clearly
you guys
respect
agree.
both of y'all's. I clearly respect everybody's opinion here.
He hates when we agree. Me and Chris Davis think Bannerlord's cool. I guess you don't, Crispy.
Well, it definitely knocks it down in my estimation a little.
Anyways, we're getting off track here. So I just wanted to mention next week no podcast. The week after on the 29th we'll do our award show. And then the week after that, which will be the first week of January, I believe we'll be doing our 2023 preview show, which are always fun. Because also 2023 is looking like a fucking bomb ass year, so we'll have a lot of cool stuff to talk about there. Also, as mentioned previously, we are doing our Game of the Year content in December. So starting here pretty quick, we're going to be having some honorable mentions roll out in short format. And then we'll be having our top 10 videos. For those of us who are doing a video, will be out. What do you think, Chris Davis? Like last week of December, like after around Christmas time or after? I don't know.
I want to start doing it right before or right after Christmas.
Okay, so yeah, you should see some top 10 videos pretty soon here. So keep an eye out for those.
I want to give Sports Story just a few more days just in case, because they promised December, and I need this.
Chris Davis is like, I could have started these videos yesterday, but I'm waiting for this stupid Sports Story game. Just kidding. It's not stupid. I'm just playing. But anyways,
I mean,
that's
you
neither
could
here
also
nor
just,
there.
Still do your Game of the Year stuff, and it's a fuzzy December game. So don't
Fuzzy
stress out.
December. Big fan of the
Fuzzy
Fuzzy December.
Yeah, December is fuzzy. If something doesn't make your list this year, I don't think anybody's gonna bust your balls about it being on your list next year. If it came out in fuzzy December,
Can you even imagine? I could have put Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on my list the year after it
and
came out.
Xenoblade
It would have.
Chronicles 3.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna make the list, but maybe not for the reasons you think.
Spoiler alert.
Oh shit, I don't know. Now you got me thinking, Ed. Anyways, Let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. In the second segment, we're going to do our topic of the week again, which is of course the Game Awards. We've asked you guys out there in the community in Discord to share some of your favorite announcements and which games that were announced during the show that you think have the most potential to overpromise and underdeliver. So we'll go over that in the second segment. We also got Midnight Suns, the Callisto Protocol, that Forspoken demo, and Chris Davis, you brought. You added this one today, and I didn't see what. Oh, Potionomics. Did I get it? Potionomics. We'll talk about that as well. So let's get to it. I think I want to let Brad and Crispy talk about Midnight Suns first.
First.
Yeah,
Okay.
first.
How much have you played of this, Crispy?
30 hours.
Oh wow!
Wow.
If that translates.
Yeah, I mean,
Who's this
I've,
person on the screen? That looks like a normal ass person.
Yeah, that is my version of the hunter, who is the player character. And when you're at the Abbey between missions, you wear like casual clothing, and yeah. I mean, like, whew, okay, let's get into it. I guess.
Here we go.
So
I've
this
played
game,
about 7.5 hours.
Oh yeah. Okay, how far did you get in the story?
Remember the last time we talked about this game?
Yeah.
Where was I? Met Spider-Man, I think.
But you haven't gotten.
I've actively stopped playing the game.
Oh man!
I almost did a refund, and then I felt really bad because I knew you were playing my copy, so I didn't do it. I actually did the refund, and then I canceled the refund, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do that."
Crispy was this close to losing access.
He was,
to the game.
and when I did that, I canceled the refund, which you can't do. By the way,
you can refund it. I at this point, I feel like I should be the one paying for it.
Well, I mean, I chose to cancel the refund because I know I will be playing this game. I'm just not going to be playing it until Firaxis gets their shit together. But we'll talk about that.
It is the client is rough. Like that's something worth talking about right up front, I guess, since you've been having a lot of problems with it. It is rough. I'm playing on Steam, like I'm on my PC, and I did the workaround. Like, so basically, there are performance issues with the game as a whole. If you launch it just normally from Steam, because it brings up this 2K launcher that it wants you to run the game through, and apparently that launcher really just like fucks everything up.
Yeah.
Really?
So you just have to do this little workaround where basically you have to go find the actual target of the application in your hard drive and then like add that as the link that the play button diverts to.
It's not too complicated. I did it as well, but I'm not playing the game because for some reason this full price $60 game from Firaxis and 2K, they also put out Grand Theft Auto. There's no cloud saves for this game. So I've been playing on the Steam Deck and getting constant crashes on the Steam Deck. And I got to the point where I just like I couldn't even really load my save anymore. And I'm like, all right, I'll just disable I'll just play a little bit on PC before we talk about it on the show. And I bypassed the 2K launcher and my save wasn't there. And I'm like, this doesn't even they don't even have fucking cloud saves yet. This is a big release. That's insane. And like I can do the work I can do the work of getting the save from my Steam Deck, but you know what? They don't earn that. Fuck them. I'll wait. I'll revisit the game when they get their shit together because that's insane.
I do want to point out that I have been kind of surprised by how frequently I've come across games on the Steam Deck that I want to play on the Steam Deck. And I forgot what the first one I played was, but the first one I played, I was like, it was a fairly big game, and it was
the Darkness 2. That was an old ass game.
No. There was another one, and I forgot what it was. You're right. I mean, there's nothing
excuse. This big and this modern. There's no way it was this big and this modern. This is insane. It doesn't have support cloud saves. So I just said, you know what? I'm interested in this game. I like this game. We're going to talk about it right now, but I'm going to wait a little bit, and that's where I'm at. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, you played 30 hours.
I played 30 hours. So, having done that workaround, I will say the game's run pretty well for me. Pretty okay. I think it's crashed once or twice.
Yeah. Have there been
So
any patches since release on this thing yet?
there was one
Yeah.
the other day. I don't know what it did. I didn't look at the patch notes or anything. I just noticed that there was a big download. It was pretty big from what I remember. Um, so hopefully that made it a little more stable. Technical issues aside, as annoying as they are, I'm really into this game. And I didn't give a shit about it before it came out. Like I wasn't like looking forward to it.
It seems like a bit of a surprise. Like it snuck up on a lot of people. I mean, they
I
didn't show a lot of gameplay prior to release either.
I'm gonna be honest, like yeah, I just kind of forgot a big part. Like I forgot this was supposed to be a card game for a while until like we were a couple weeks out from launch. I forgot that it was Firaxis and that it was the XCOM devs.
Yeah.
Which that stuff is actually what's kind of cool and exciting about it. What would have been hype worthy. I was also a little just kind of like, I don't know about this the first couple hours I was playing, based mostly on like, I feel like the visual quality of this game is fine. Like it's okay. It's not.
It's kind of
not
on par with
fancy.
XCOM.
Yeah,
It's not fancy.
it's not fancy. It does kind of remind me of XCOM a bit. And like the voice work, it took me a while to kind of like lean into it, but now that like I've been with these characters for 30 hours, I've kind of just like gotten used to it, and it's not it's not distracting anymore. I'm kind of just listening to the story now, right?
Right.
But at first some of the voice acting was a little like, it's kind of weird, but honestly, like imperfections aside, rough edges aside, I'm really into this game. And is that is after fully acknowledging that like this game is not really I wouldn't consider this game to be like an XCOM successor, like it was maybe implied to be by everyone thinking, oh, it's a Firaxis
Yeah, I think everybody just sees
strategy
Firaxis and
game, right?
assumes.
It doesn't really fit that same MO as XCOM, and there are some things about it that are a little disappointing compared to XCOM. I talked about this with Brad, and we were kind of like, oh well, I don't know, maybe I was kind of taking the approach of, I don't know, maybe it opens up later. It kind of doesn't. These enemies you see me fighting, these Hydra enemies, this is like what you fight. Like this is 90% of what I fought is like these same 4 types of enemies.
Oh.
There are a couple boss characters that are like actual name, like one of them is Venom. They're in the story. A few different characters become fallen, quote unquote, which is like they basically get infected by Lilith's demon powers or whatever, and then they become like a bad guy, slave to her. And they do this thing with those boss characters where after you've beaten them once, they can kind of just show up again in other missions, like random missions that you're doing.
Huh.
It might be like in a mission like this is just a standard side mission. The objective is capture the Hydra agent, which basically just means kill the protection around the Hydra agent, use a card that makes them captured, and then defeat all the other enemies, and then you win, right? But in a mission like this, like Venom can show up randomly, and then everything kind of centers around taking down Venom, right?
And that's a random chance that could happen.
It seems to be that way. Yes, it's not.
Can I say real quick on the objective based like missions?
Yeah.
I kind of wish there was a little more than just play that card. Like, I think that's one thing that didn't need to be like a card, and it could have just been something like maybe more positional or more, get like this many people to this spot. Like, I hate because it makes every objective based mission basically the same because it's all just play that card. And I don't understand why they did it that way. I feel like it didn't have to be card based, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like get this item, rescue this person, save this civilian. Yeah, you know what I mean.
All those
It's
always
always
individual cards.
No, I mean it's just it's the objective based mission card that basically
it'll be like like in this mission, when you take down the Hydra agent that's guarding the VIP, it adds a card to your hand that says capture VIP. That when you play it, just whichever character you have selected does that as an action. And that's all that is all that capturing a VIP means. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? It's just
Yeah.
like playing this
It's-
like contextual card.
A little too nitty gritty. I'm sorry. Go ahead. There's a lot to say about
It's
this
nitty
game.
gritty,
because-
and but that does kind of tie into what I was saying, where like a lot of the combat is very much kind of like the same thing, you know. And
yeah.
if you're coming at this from an XCOM angle, I mean, maybe even especially after XCOM 2, I can, I get that as a criticism, right? Where it's like you're just fighting Hydra agents 90% of the time, and it's kind of like the same, 12 maps rotated over and over again, right?
Yeah.
It's the same kind of mission types over and over again. But I still don't hold that against this game, honestly, because like it is really fun. Like the actual like tactics of playing as these characters and using their abilities is really fun. And I think the gameplay, I think the actual combat captures that feeling of like being a superhero fighting a bunch of, goons, right? Pretty well. To the point where there's like there are enemy types on the field that are called like minions or something like that, and they have 1 HP, but there might be like 5 or 6 of them around, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like they can do damage to you, but it's really easy to take them out. So you kind of get into this like puzzly gameplay where it's like, how many enemies can I take out at a time? And you only have 3 card plays normally per round in which to make your attacks or use your abilities or anything like that, right? But there's a lot of other stuff going on in the environment that isn't reliant as much on card play. Like you get 1 move, so you get like every round you can move a character anywhere on the battlefield. No restriction to the distance they can travel once for free. And you can, as part of that, you can even like do a shove attack against an enemy.
Right.
So then you get into these like kind of Rube Goldberg machines where it's like, okay, well, if I run over here and shove this guy toward, towards this obstacle, it'll do this much damage. Or if I shove this guy towards this obstacle, it'll blow up a barrel and then that'll take out these 3 guys over here. Or I can shove this guy into another one of my heroes and that hero will do a combo, which you just saw on the screen there.
Oh,
and
wow,
that'll take them out. And all of that is outside just playing cards. And that's just like 1 move that you have to make. So there's a lot of flexibility given to the player to kind of like use the environment. It would be a lot cooler if those environments were a little more detailed, a little more varied, had like a little bit more going on. The most variation you get is that like some of them will have, like if you're on the roof of a building, you can try to knock people off the building or knock them through a skylight, and there'll be like a percentage chance that it'll just instant kill somebody, right?
Let me interject here. I'll say that if you looked at this game and said, I'm not really into card games, so maybe hang on.
Sorry, continue.
I mean, can I ask?
Yeah.
So one of the things about XCOM, and this game, of course, is going to get a ton of comparisons to XCOM. One of the things that stood out for me is that in watching your footage, you're knocking at enemies, you don't appear to be killing them, and you're playing with a bunch of superheroes, which Disney's probably going to frown pretty hard on if they were to die. Like, what is the fail condition for a character, or what is the tension loop of this game?
Tension loop.
Like compared to XCOM.
Saying, like, if you're like the character, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I just feel like
I'm asking a harsh question.
I feel like you're giving it a little more gravitas than it. Like I don't think Disney would have a problem with depicting characters as dying, like in Marvel.
I mean, yeah. Like, do you have a
time that is like that's like a huge fucking trope in superhero comics is that they die all the goddamn time.
They die too much.
Can you lose characters in the XCOM sense?
You don't really lose characters, but you have to keep all your characters alive during the match. They can be like you go into every fight with 3 heroes, okay?
Right.
So the tension of that fight is even losing one of them
It's a
is
big
like a
deal.
huge fucking blow. And
Yeah.
depending on what difficulty you're playing on, you get like maybe 1 free revive per game. So like if, I have Magic, Iron Man, and Hunter here. If I lose Iron Man and Magic, I've got to do everything that's left with Hunter, which I mean, Hunter is probably my best character, but like that's probably just not going to happen, right?
Mhm.
You're never going to be faced with a decision that's going to result in a
As
character
far
being
as
permanently removed from your.
right, as far as what happens if you fail, I mean, obviously it's just a fail state reload. You can either go back to the Abbey and pick a different mission, or you can try the mission again. But getting at what I think you're asking about, Chris, there is a system of like wounds with characters. So if characters take like too much damage in one hit, or if they end a mission downed or something like that, there's a chance that they can take a wound, and wounds are going to be like permanent global debuffs for that character until they either sit out enough days to like heal naturally, or if you've upgraded your training grounds at the Abbey, which we'll talk more about the Abbey in a second, you can put them in something that's called combat therapy, and it's basically like takes 1 day to just remove whatever negative side effects the wounds had given them, and will replace it with a positive side effect. But like those like the things you can get from wounds vary, like the kind of effects. It could be like, okay, well, Iron Man's got a wound. You can take him into this mission, but he's not going to be able to play any of this type of card, right?
Okay.
Or all of his hero powers are going to cost 1 extra energy. Like it makes the character just harder to use, right? Um,
I like
and
this
then
system actually.
and
That
then on
sounds
the
pretty cool.
reverse, yeah, and then on the reverse side of that, when you like put them in the therapy or you train with them and you give them buffs, they go into like whatever their next fight is, they're going to go into with like, +3 heroism, which those are the points that you use to do the heroic moves. Or like it'll give them 2 counters, which means the first 2 times they get hit, they're going to do a counter attack to hurt the enemy that hit them, things like that, right? So
Okay,
it is like
but
kind of, yeah.
before we get to the Abbey stuff, though, can I finish what I was saying
Yeah,
before
yeah,
I
yeah.
was rudely interrupted by a sick baby?
Fucking
um, oh, what I was saying is like this is a card-based game, and there is a deck element, but like they're very small decks, and there's not even really
it's like
if
8 cards
don't
or
whatever
10
you do,
cards.
don't let the card aspect scare you off. I mean, this is much more of a tactics game, and it's just a way of like handling some slight randomness to your abilities. There's not that much to it. Like this is the kind of thing where you don't have to like these kinds of games. You don't have to be good at Slay the Spire or something to be able to play a game like this. If you just want like a Marvel kind of XCOM game that's not that hardcore and you don't care about card games, this could still be for you, especially
It
because of
almost
how
seems
much other stuff there is out of combat in this game.
it almost seems
But
like it's just kind of a way of like paying homage to like X-Men cards, because like everybody liked X-Men cards.
No,
when they
I
were-
mean,
when they were-
I mean,
like
really, it's because the designer was playing. I mean, I listened to an interview and he was playing a lot of Slay the Spire at the time and said cards are tight and that's why they're in the game.
yeah, but I would also kind of temper that with the notion that like I've been playing this game for 30 hours and I only just got the ability to like re-roll new cards out of packs or craft cards that I have blueprints for or exchange cards for materials to craft different cards, or that like I'm getting cards that have different effects than like what their normal base version has. Like the card system opens up a lot and it keeps opening up for a while. Like this kind of couples into another thing I was going to say, in that I would recommend there's a lot of side missions that you can do, right? A lot of side actual combats that you can do. And I would
Yeah.
recommend doing as many of those as you can, because I mean, that's the main way that you get all the resources that you use in this game. Like there's like 9 different fucking currencies or resources that you're using to upgrade or buy different things. None of it none of that, like without considering the premium currency that I'm told is in this game. I haven't seen it, but I'm told it's
So you
there.
got to spend real money on it. You can't earn it.
So
So
I don't know what that's for. But what I'm saying is I'm looking at a list of story missions, and I feel like the story mode maybe isn't like all that crazy long. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm halfway through the game, but apparently I'm halfway through the game. And it feels like you can kind of bust through the story missions, at least for a while, without ever like upgrading the forge or upgrading your uplink or anything that like is actually putting all of these different systems and different like complexity on top of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Is the story mode on a kind of like in the first two XComs? Is it on a like a soft global timer, or is there
No,
just
No,
Get XCOM out of your head.
Yeah.
When
Okay,
you're
I'm
outside
sorry.
of battle, don't think of it like XCOM. Think of it more like Fire Emblem Three Houses or something, where
Ah,
you're hanging out with characters. You know, you're talking to them. You're building up those relationship, those social links, and
you're going fishing with
a
Blade.
lot of the little things you do around the abbey are sort of like the support systems to like upgrade your cards or add new effects to your cards, like he was saying. And
I'm actually doing
they're just sort of like you go to this person in this room to do this one thing, and then you go fishing with Blade, and you in all your like you spend just as much time outside of combat as you do in combat, maybe even a little more so outside of combat.
I think that Factual Life review got people a little whipped up when he was
Okay,
like, "This is
that
90% in the Abbey."
No. Okay,
Sure.
first of all, it wasn't 90%. Second of all, that was a fucking preview. And third of all, you can, if you choose, when it opens up the Abbey, the world around the Abbey, if he really was exploring every single fucking inch of that, like before he went into his next mission, I get why he had that impression from an early preview build or from
I'm
a
not
limited
okay.
preview build. But
Okay.
that is not like now that reviews have come out and people played the whole fucking game, it's more like um 50-50 or maybe more
That's what I'm
leaning towards
saying.
Abby being longer. So like there's no reason to bring up that one preview from the unfinished game.
I'm saying
Um
people heard that and they might have been a little
no, but
might
you
have
got
got
to
the wrong idea.
understand. You got to understand when I heard about this game,
Okay.
I knew there was going to be like this shit, right? Where like I didn't I thought it was going to be still more like 80% combat. And it's not that. It's definitely not that. So you do have to be like kind of comfortable with spending a lot of time at the Abbey and you know 50% is a lot. It's a lot, but it's pretty
Yeah.
good. Like it's pretty good because you know it's fun and
Yeah.
goofy to like do social stuff with these kids. Like same thing with Fire Emblem. Like Fire Emblem Three Houses was the first Fire Emblem game where you really spent that much time out of combat, but it's good. I love Three Houses. It might even be one of I mean it's my top 3 Fire Emblem games, I think,
Ed's
because
played that
that
game like
stuff was
16
good and you started
times.
to care about those characters, you started to care about those relationships, and you know one
Twice.
character was weirdly into this one thing, and you that narrative kind of like evolved over time, and that was cool. And I think this has a very similar vibe where you know you like you know you're hanging out with Blade and he starts talking about vampire movies, and you're like, this is I did not think this game was going to be that, but it's silly and it's fun and I'm here for it. And now I want to take Blade on my next mission. Um, but I don't understand why Crispy was using Iron Man because that's lame. There are much cooler characters in this game than Iron Man. But
What a
maybe it was an
transition,
Iron
Chris.
Not
Man required
do not
mission. That's
rotate your
fine.
fucking characters around?
I haven't played too much of this game because it kept crashing on me. But
are are
I
Okay.
chose going into
Oh,
this
well,
game
come
not to
back to me
use.
when you're at 30 hours, Brad. Come back
Yeah,
to
there
me
you
and talk
go.
to me when
There you
you're at
go.
30 hours, Brad.
what I'm saying
Your
is
opinions don't matter right now.
what I'm saying is I'm not using dumb MCU characters because there's other cool team
Okay.
characters like myself,
Do
like
are
Ooh,
there
Ghost
look at
like
turn
Rider
it
who
around
drives
on
a
him, Crispy.
car.
I get it. Your personality is you don't like the MCU. Fine. Anyway.
People
Yeah.
here who weren't here for the pre-show aren't going to get that wonderful turnaround that Crispy just pulled, but it was pretty good.
that's why you tune in, on
No, I mean it
podcast
doesn't make
night.
the same sort of sense,
No,
but
no,
that's
it's
fine.
completely different situation.
Yeah.
A question
Brad-
about the characters in and of
Brad
itself.
still has the upper hand.
Do do certain combinations of characters unlock like special abilities or story content, or like does that play into one another?
Most of the story facing content with the characters is geared towards the player, if that makes sense. So taking certain characters on missions will increase your relationship with that character, right?
Okay.
There isn't really much of a like measured system of managing their relationships with each other. Like
Okay.
you are this one character, right? So everything is facing towards Hunter. It like you don't really get there's not like a meter that's like Magic's friendship with Nico, right? That improves their relationship. That stuff is kind of like handled in the story, more or less.
Okay.
And those are all still presented to you as options to improve your relationship.
So it's
with
not a
the
dating
characters.
sim.
So like
You're not shipping
it
characters
is
together.
it is, but it's between you and the characters, not between themselves. You know what I
Ooh.
mean? So like Nico and Magic are like BFF, right? And there's a scene where like you spend several days of like after mission activity where Nico's like, "Oh, Magic's birthday is coming up, but she doesn't tell anybody." And I don't know why that's crazy to me. So I want to throw her a surprise party. So then you have to like go around and you have to like talk to everybody about doing something different for the surprise party. And then like it becomes this whole thing where it's like Nico thinks surprise parties are fun. So she thinks it's really fun to do it and wants to do it for Magic. But Magic has a completely different perspective and doesn't like surprise parties, doesn't like her birthday, has like a deep dark secret about her birthday, doesn't like to celebrate it. So they do this whole surprise party thing, right? And then Nico's mad, and then Magic's mad, so she goes and hides out in her limbo realm. So then you have a conversation with Nico, but that conversation's all about, how you answer affects your relationship with Nico, right? And then she'll be like, "Can you
Gotcha.
go talk to Magic?" And then you go talk to Magic. And then how you deal with her affects your relationship with her, right?
It's kind of like Alpha Protocol.
It's not really about you trying to get Magic to be better friends with Nico. Like they kind of just make up and kiss anyway, right?
That's a bit disappointing, but maybe that's me reading more into it than there probably is.
I really think it is because this is not XCOM. This is not about managing like this
And
is
XCOM
not
wasn't even about that
this is
either.
not about
So
no, but XCOM is entirely like the out of combat metagame of XCOM is entirely like a base management,
It's a
like a
strategy
resource
game.
management strategy game. It's
Yeah.
like you are leading an army and you interface with that army and its resources in a very practical manner. This is like the opposite
More
of
of
that.
a
This is like
more of a social game, right?
yeah, this
It's
is
like
like living in a fucking dormitory with a bunch of people and like managing your relationships and your friendships with those people.
Like kind of
And
Persona.
It's like Three Houses.
yeah,
Yeah, but there's a little bit more going on here. Like you're like choosing what you're saying based on what you think the character would like to hear and stuff like that.
right.
Versus Three
Yeah.
Houses, you don't hate that level of
But that's
choice.
pretty much the extent of your social interactions.
Also, a lot of your dialogue options are based around whether or not you're going to express your light side or your dark side. You have this
Mm.
whole like light side dark side morality thing.
Which is odd. But
It is odd, but what's cool about it is leveling up either side of that meter unlocks a completely different set of cards for Hunter. So you can make like a light side Hunter, or you can make a dark side Hunter, or you can do some kind of like lower level combination of the two, and they get pretty different from one another. They kind of diverge in two completely different directions, and
Cool.
that's just kind of represented by the fact that the Hunter is like half demon because she is Lilith, the main antagonist's daughter, right? So it's about how much of that like darkness you're letting out or how much you're actively fighting against it. But
Mhm.
but so much of the Abby stuff, like it is where you do all of your like management of the game, right? So like right here, I'm opening up coils, which are your booster packs. This is where you get new cards from, right? You upgrade the facilities of the Abbey to unlock every system in the game, just about. You craft items that you use in combat. You craft powers and abilities that you use in combat. You do daily trainings, like every day you have to do a sparring session with somebody, or you have the opportunity to do a sparring session with somebody, which will add bonuses, like temporary bonuses to that character's performance in battle. It'll also improves your relationship with that character, which improving relationships with different characters improves what kind of like cards you can get for them. It improves their effectiveness with you in combat. It also improves the team's friendship meter, which as you unlock different levels of team friendship, you unlock passive buffs that just like go across the whole team forever. You know what I mean?
Tony Stark looks like Burt Reynolds. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what I was talking about, is that like a lot of the character models just kind of look like, like whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't look
And
good or sharp or detailed. I mean,
it's not crazy good.
I was just commenting on the mustache, but you know,
And well, I mean, Tony Stark is a mustachioed gentleman. Like
I always thought of Tony Stark's his father with the mustache, but Tony himself.
No, I know.
maybe
You
not.
don't read comics. I get it.
I know. I just exposed myself.
Philistine.
We probably need to move on here pretty
Yeah.
soon. We've been talking about this one for a while.
I will say it's a really, really fun game. I do find the Abby stuff to be incredibly cozy and like really rewarding. I have kind of gotten to the point where it's like, oh, I don't think this person likes me. Like, I got to do something nice for them. I got to compliment them. Or like when I'm out when you're out exploring, you'll find all these hangout spots that are like special hangouts that you can only take one character to one time, and it does like a big boost to their friendship. So you're like, ooh, a spooky graveyard. Oh, I bet Magic would love this. I'll bring her here later. It's. I don't know. It's fucking cozy. They have all these different like social clubs that like they're texting each other about like, hey, tonight, do you want to do a book club meeting? Like, yeah. And then like the different characters are all in different clubs. They all have their own t-shirts. You can like do things like set different costumes for the characters to wear at the Abbey, like their casual clothes. If you have a bunch of them unlocked, you can just flip a switch that's like they'll wear something new every day. So it feels like this kind of living and breathing thing. If you guys remember when I was talking about the Belfry in Gotham Knights, and I was like, I really like this aspect of it. Like, I like this kind of like family hangout sort of aspect between doing all the superhero combat stuff. This is that kind of like ratcheted up another step, and it has much more effect on the actual gameplay. It feels really cool. And like honestly, at this point, despite its imperfections and despite like maybe its kind of lack of combat variety, if you will, I am super excited for them to announce some DLC for this. Like,
nice.
They already have a season pass that announced that's as much as the game almost. With
Hell yeah!
Heroes.
I mean,
money.
Firaxis's games really shine in their expansions. Honestly, the base games are good, but the expansions are when it gets really good.
I want to see what other heroes they're going to add. I know that Wolverine is a fucking hero in this game, and I haven't gotten him yet. And that's insane to me. Like, I've played for so many hours. Where the fuck is he? Like,
there is the one little thing I want to say, that there was some contention with Crispy, but I wanted to get it out because it's bothering me. It's not so much. It is a little bit about the balance of combat versus Abby, but I just sort of wish that when I choose to do like combat, there was a little more to grab onto before they were sending me back to the Abbey, because these battles, they're not long, and they're like in one little space, one little square. You fight these soldiers, and then you're going back to the Abbey. And maybe it has something to do with like loading and the fact that I'm crashing a lot of times during loads. Like, I kind of wish there was just like a string of like 2 or 3 battles. And I know there is with some big story boss missions, but I wish most missions were like 2 or 3 battles that I got to do. Maybe I can change out my cards like between battles. Just pure combat gameplay before they sent me back to the Abbey, because I feel like that transition back and forth, going in and out of combat, like it takes a long time. And I wish that, I mean, I like the Abbey stuff, but I wish I could just have enough combat and stuff to chew on before they're sending me back. And I don't like the bite-sized nature of how most missions, especially side missions, feel. But that's where I'm at. I don't know if that changes.
The story missions are always at least 2 parts, but I do get what you're saying.
I kind of wish maybe those were like 3 parts and regular missions were like 2 parts, because like even the fact that they're in one space kind of bothers me. I almost wish it was like a Time Crisis mission where after one encounter they kind of run up the street to fight more soldiers and then there's a boss or something. Just something to give it a little more.
I can see that.
No, that's it. Let's move on.
I agree.
All right,
cool. Check it out.
It looks
It's
cool.
cool.
I think it's a bit of a surprise this year, and it did come out day and date with the next game we want to talk about, which has been maybe a little bit of a disappointment for a lot. And that is of course the Callisto Protocol. Chris Davis and I both played that. We finished it.
Thoughts on the title?
I personally like the title, but I can see why it would be a problem. I mean, it doesn't have.
Feels like a 1980 sci-fi book.
That's fine by me.
It's a video game. That's perfectly fine.
Sure.
Honestly, I have no qualms with the title. And this is such a weird game situation to be in, because when this game was first announced, it was obviously drawing a lot of comparisons to Dead Space. It's the studio is a new studio led by Glenn Schofield, who created the original Dead Space. And at the time when that announcement happened, it was kind of exciting because Dead Space was dead. Dead Space was dormant. Nobody knew anything about it. And now we have this reboot coming out next month, which is looking pretty good. And everyone's kind of excited because maybe Dead Space is finally coming back to life. And now we're in the situation where this game drops, and it's kind of, it feels like, you know, it's got that like new IP from a new studio, vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like it clearly, they haven't proven themselves yet. It probably doesn't have the biggest budget. It struggled a little bit development wise, and all of that kind of I think comes across.
It's got that first game growing pains going for it.
Yeah, like this is one of those situations where if it does sell well and it does get greenlit for a sequel, the sequel has the potential to be a huge improvement on this. It's also been divisive for a number of other reasons. I've played all the way through this game. Chris Davis knows what I'm talking about. It's shocking to me. First of all, I want to say that I actually did really enjoy my time with this game, despite some pretty glaring flaws with it.
Yeah.
The things that it does well are the things that like Dead Space did pretty well, in terms of just like it has a pretty awesome audio design. It's got some cool set pieces. It definitely has some thick atmosphere, and I like the combat, like the physicality of the combat and everything. But like, it is linear as fuck. I feel like games haven't.
It puts too much emphasis on the visual and audio design over actual pretty much almost any other aspect of the game. It's pretty to look at, and it's great to listen to, but it's a linear. I'm not going to say a slog.
I just don't think they make games like this anymore. Like they don't make games this linear. I mean, I guess.
What about the cowboy game you were talking about last time?
I mean,
they do make.
But also remember what we talked about last time. Evil West feels like a game that was made for the Xbox 360, and in a lot of ways,
you know what's made for the 360? Well. Dead Space.
I know, but like, even look at what they're doing with this Dead Space reboot.
I think what you're trying to say is it feels like kind of like a B game from that era. Maybe, but you also got I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I do think a lot of it can be chalked up to it's a new IP from a new studio. Therefore, they didn't have a budget that could stretch as far. You know what I mean? So like, they did what they could with the money they had and the time that they had, and I think the final product is pretty impressive, all things considered.
Yeah,
but it's relentlessly linear. Like I was always expecting like, oh, there's eventually going to be a point where it kind of like opens up and you kind of like branching pathways, and then even if it funnels you back, right? Like that's fine, but like that never happens. It's like
there are hints of that every now and then. Like you're going
very,
through
very
the
small
map, and
hints.
you'll get to areas where like you get outside of the prison, or you'll get to a new sector of the prison that you haven't seen before, and you're like, oh, I can see multiple pathways. Maybe this is the point where it starts to open up, and it doesn't. It's just like there is one critical path that you have to follow, and one very small side optional path that gets you small resources or benefits. There
were a few times I found gun schematics that I would have otherwise missed, which was kind of nice.
Yes.
But typically speaking, every room you go into, you enter in one way, and you're going to exit in a door opposite, where you entered, right? Somewhere in that room, there's one exit and there's one entrance. And a lot of times you go through that and you can't even backtrack. Like something will happen and you can't backtrack at it. It's just like they don't make games like this anymore. And that's kind of a shame. The other thing I want to talk about, because it's been a huge sticking point for a lot of people, and I totally get why, is the dodge system, which is tied to the melee combat in this game.
Well, the combat overall, pretty much.
Combat overall, I honestly, aside from the fact that like there was a shockingly small number of guns in the game, there's 2 kinds of pistols, 2 kinds of shotguns, and an assault rifle, and that's pretty much it.
This entire game is built around the concept of melee combat. Guns are secondary. They are a secondary concern and aren't necessary for you to succeed in combat.
Right. But here's the hang up with the melee combat a lot of people are having is the dodge system seems kind of unintuitive and weird.
It is.
For whatever reason, I really enjoyed it. It's literally what it is when enemies are attacking you, you hold the stick to the left, and if you're holding the stick to the left, you will dodge it, and you have to the only way to continue dodging as they're attacking you is to alternate the stick. So you got to remember in the moment, like you've held left, so now he's swung. Now you have to hold right. So you make sure, but if you hold it to the left twice, you're gonna get hit. Which seems weird. It doesn't even matter if you're dodging to the left. Like you could be dodging to the right, but if you hold to the left, you're gonna dodge that first attack. You switch the stick the other direction, you'll dodge the next one.
Yeah,
it's insane though. It's insane.
It's not insane. It's just weird.
I'm talking to 2 people who beat Sifu. Okay, you know. Y'all can handle your dodges and your parries and all that shit.
But the other part of this is like I don't want it to be Sifu. I don't want this to necessarily I don't necessarily need this game to be this like ultra tight.
That's fine. Then why is it not just a dodge button? You know, why are you holding in a direction at all?
Because here's what I kind of how I kind of felt about it. To me it was about keeping your composure, because a lot of times you're being attacked by multiple enemies or it's coming from different directions, and it's all about trying to stay calm while being attacked by multiple enemies and remembering the pattern that you're going with. I don't think it's insane. I think insane is really hyperbolic.
Visual, like what I heard is that the enemies are visually telegraphing left and right, but you don't actually like reacting to that, which is insane. It's almost like that. Way they they intended to have it to where you dodged based on what you saw the monster doing, but people weren't having too hard of a time, so they just because it feels like the enemies are designed around a different sort of dodge system, but than the one that the game shipped.
Here's the problem:
that might be the case.
The problem with what you're talking about, Brad, is that yes, that feels like what the design is supposed to be. The problem is that works for when you're in one-on-one or maybe one-on-2 encounters. In this game, you can have upwards of 6 or 8 enemies trying to attack you at once, and you could really only focus on one at a time. So again, this is a game that
designed for one-on-one encounters. I guess then, the dodge system. But so like why? I mean, then just have a dodge button. It's very strange, but that's fine.
It is strange.
I've played many games that have had weird, strange systems, and I'm cool with it. That's fine. I just it's weird to have one so visually unintuitive to what you're seeing.
But I will say this. It did not take me long to break that. Once I realized how it worked, and I realized I don't need to pay attention to which way they're hitting me. And I know it's weird, but the moment I accepted that and I moved on, and it was all about just alternating the stick, I had almost no problems with the dodge system.
Outside of composure, you mean?
Huh?
Outside of composure, you mean? Because it's still like an element that you have to think about.
You're still being it's still high tension because you're being attacked by these creatures from every different direction, whatever. But I don't want to stick too long talking about the Callisto Protocol, because it seems weird to even be talking about it now, knowing that Dead Space is coming out next month. It's
Wait,
such
what
a
do you
weird.
mean? Hold on.
It's
Dead
such a
Space
weird
is a fucking
situation.
remake, and it shouldn't get too much fucking credit for it either. These are not. This is the new game from the creators of Dead Space. Should be the future you really care about, and not a fucking remake. Because
Well, here's
maybe
here's the thing. Like personally, I want this to get a sequel. I think this has the potential to really become like we now live in a world where this is out and Dead Space is coming out next month, and I think Dead Space has a potential to be very good. It's got that EA money, you know what I'm talking about?
and the game was already made.
Right. But they are doing really interesting things with that remake if you've been paying attention to like what they're going for there.
Sure.
And this seems really straightforward. I'm worried that like even the existence of that Dead Space remake is going to eat into sales of this game, and this is not going to perform well enough. So it's almost like I don't even want to get my hopes up. Like I hope this does well. I hope this gets a sequel, but I am. And also considering the critical
it's not like there's
reception.
Dead Space fans who
Nicholas.
are waiting for Dead Space. I mean,
Whoa,
Dead Space
what?
fans are you in? Wait,
What are you talking about?
You just painted a hypothetical that doesn't exist. Like there are people who really love Dead Space, and they're not like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get this one. I'm gonna wait for the Dead Space remake." Because those
After the
people are you
reviews,
and Chris
absolutely
Davis.
that could be.
I know,
Absolutely.
and y'all saw the reviews, and what did y'all say?
What?
I'm getting it anyways because I
Dude,
love Dead
well-
Space, and this is like Dead Space, and that's why I think this game probably did just fucking fine, no matter the fact
Well,
that
I
another
do
Dead
hope you're
Space
right.
remake is coming.
I do hope you're right. I do fucking hope you're
Because
right.
there's a lot of fucking people talking about this game, and when that happens, that means people are fucking playing it.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I
don't
hope
think you
you're
need
right
to worry
because-
about the Dead Space fans who are excited about the remake. You need to worry about the people
Well,
who are
I'm worried
not
about
really more casual
Yeah.
Dead Space fans who are not going to play this game because the
I'm just-
reviews weren't great.
I mean,
well, that is what I'm worried about because
But I'm also not
Yeah.
I also don't care too much about the Dead Space remake. Do you understand?
Okay.
Like you're creating a
No, I don't.
hypothetical Venn diagram, and you got your circles in the wrong place. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I'm not worried about the
All I'm
success
trying to
of
say is
Callisto
I'm worried about the
Protocol.
sales. That's all I'm saying.
Of this game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the sales of this game. I think it's going to do
Should be better.
okay. I don't think it's going to do great. This whole game
We live in a world
is.
where okay doesn't necessarily cut it for getting a sequel.
Hang on, okay.
Uh,
This game is going to do okay. It's not going to do great because
Neither
there's
does.
too many other things to play right now, and it's got this gigantic shadow looming over it that comes out in just over a month and a half from now.
Literally what I just
But-
fucking said.
Hang on a second.
But
Let me get this out,
Not a
okay?
shadow.
What I'm saying is that this is a game that's focusing more on setting up a franchise than just trying to be an experiment, a one-off. Krafton, who are the publishers of this game, this is their first time publishing a game. This is their first time doing anything other than PUBG, and they have put significant effort into publishing it. It had a really nice quality prequel podcast series starring some
Yeah, no, that was
notable
cool.
names. That was really
That
well
was cool.
done. And
Like a
That's the other
fictional?
thing, dude. They spent so much money on actors in this fucking thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
why?
because they have that PUBG money, okay? It's
I
not
guess,
Fortnite money, but
I
it
guess.
works. So
I
what I'm saying
guess.
is that Krafton has no intentions of letting this game. If this game had sold like 100,000 copies maximum, then yeah, this franchise will be over. And Striking Point or whatever the studio, Striking Distance,
Striking Distance Studios, yeah.
Striking whatever it is, they would be moving on to a new project, new IP.
Yeah.
This game is going to do
Whatever
well
hap-
enough. It's going to get a sequel. It already has DLC planned in a large season pass that they already have planned out going. It's we're going to get a sequel. You don't have to worry about that. It's going
It's
to
not like it was
Well,
like universally
regardless, it has
panned,
nothing
right?
to- it has
Yeah,
nothing-
you're right.
All I'm saying-
but dude, fucking, you know what this is? You know what this fucking is?
Eris liked it.
This is fucking Days Gone.
I don't
Gone.
know.
No, it's not.
Days Gone. Days Gone is on your
Yeah.
top 10 of all time. Don't call
No.
this a Days Gone.
No. You misunderstand me. It's a new IP. It's a new IP that doesn't even have first party publisher money behind it. That's scoring like average 60s, 70s. It's going to end up as like
Mhm.
a solid
Yeah.
low 70 on Metacritic.
Those
And
damn woke
it's-
reviewers.
It's going to underperform, and
It's
I don't know.
still like a very different situation. Like this game, everyone was kind of excited going into this game. It sort of no one was excited going into Days Gone. There were people like you who were kind of pleasantly surprised by it, but even you weren't like jumping off the fences before that game came out, right?
I was
You
pretty
didn't fall in
excited
love
for
with it
Days
until
Gone.
you started playing it. I mean, this game, there's a lot of hype going into this game.
And this game has a lot of exciting potential for gameplay elements. Like this
Yeah.
first time in recent memory, I can think of a horror experience with a good melee combat system. Divisive as it is with the dodge mechanic, the actual combo system with striking enemies with your stun baton works. And I think it works
Okay,
really
you're
well.
right. You're right. It does. We need to move on. I also want to
Oh.
point out Days Gone. This has Sam Witwer in it, and maybe Sam Witwer's a curse. It's gonna.
Someone
I
should
also
stop
just
him.
wanna- I just want to say, like, kill that
The Force
Dead Space.
Unleashed, Days Gone, then this.
All I want to say is kill that Dead Space remake shadow talk, because that is like literally that's like saying, well, maybe Sekiro won't do so great because there's a Demon Souls remake coming. That's just, they're not
No.
related. Those people are excited about all of that stuff. I mean, it's I
The
think
only reason I bring it up is because, and I've never really seen this happen before, is where they announced something and it was so obviously like, hey, we know Dead Space is dead, so we're gonna make something that's similar that speaks to you, and then Dead Space came back, and now they're coming out a month apart. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's weird.
I
there
guess, like,
might be an
don't-
argument if it was a Dead Space 4, but it's not. So
Yeah, like,
fair.
don't believe the marketing hype, right? Like the whole
Yeah.
reason they announced and are releasing this game so close is because of the tenor of the announcement of Callisto Protocol. Where they're like, Dead Space is gone.
exactly.
Like we'll be the savior that the world needs for Dead Space, and EA's like, well, I mean, we could just release this game that we have.
Wait, we have Dead Space.
Yeah.
Also, I do
Exactly.
think, Brad, I do think maybe. Well, I don't want to get into this. We need to move on.
Yeah, get into it.
No, I don't want. I just like they're like that Dead Space remake is there. Looks like they're going like Resident Evil 2 remake on it in terms of like it's not
but-
like it's not just a cut and paste like with nicer visuals. It's not that.
But who's making that? Who's making the Dead Space
Motive.
remake?
EA
Who's
Motive.
What does Motive do?
EA Motive's last two projects were Star Wars Squadrons and the Battlefront 2 campaign, I think.
Okay, but the
Pretty
Resident Evil
games.
remake 2 was like, the people who make Resident Evil, like it was Capcom's Resident Evil team doing a new Resident Evil game. This is like a prettier version of Dead Space with new shit. It's not.
Okay, we'll have this
it's
conversation next
still-
month when Dead Space is out.
Still has a little bit of a Blue Point vibe to it. You know what I mean?
I think it's gonna be more than that. But let's move on.
Is that a compliment?
That's rough.
Maybe.
I mean, it is a compliment in a way, and I'm sure it'll be great, like the Demon Souls remake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nick,
So
you want to knock
before
out
we-
Forspoken really quickly?
Do you want me
No.
to?
I think we
played
should.
some of that Forspoken demo.
Real quick, I wanted to give Ed a chance because he didn't have anything on the dock, and it's been a while since we have him on the show. Do you have anything you've been playing that you want?
Yeah.
mention, or-
I'll mention some stuff. So I just finished Xenoblade 3.
How long did it take you?
I'd have to go check, but it was pretty long.
We're talking about triple
Um,
digits.
Were
No,
you still
no, no,
doing
no.
all the
Okay.
hero quests and stuff? And
Yeah, so what I did was I unlocked all the heroes, but I didn't do all of their like ascension quests or whatever, the ones that like allow you to level up above 10. But
those
so
are cool moments there.
I know. And so like even unlocking the hero quests were cool moments. I do think that there's an interesting like kind of synergy that happens with this hero ascension quest, where like all of a sudden you like just kind of like find a random side quest out in the middle of nowhere, and you like complete it, and then all of a sudden someone in your team or one of the heroes is like, oh, I know that person, or I've done something with them, and then it just like, okay, now you've unlocked the ascension quest for it. So it's not like super obvious, but if you're like paying attention to what the characters are saying, then you can kind of more like if you're following the story, then you'll know where to go, basically.
And the story in that game kind of lost me. I played it for like 10, 15 hours, but like I love
Where
the
did you stop?
characters. I don't oh god.
Do you
Don't ask me
do you
that. It's
remember
been a
like
while
maybe mechanically like the last thing you unlocked in the combat or anything like that?
No, because the combat to me seemed like a bit of a clusterfuck. Like the
Yeah.
only thing that was kind of that made me want to keep going with that game was the characters. Like the main characters,
Yeah.
I love the main characters. Does it deliver on the like those characters, those relationships? Like because that's the kind of thing
Yes.
that's gonna keep me going back to it.
I would say 100% yes. Like that is the highlight of the game for me. The overall story I thought was a little bit lacking compared to what I experienced in Xenoblade 1 and 2. The endings of Xenoblade 1 and 2 like literally blew my mind. I didn't get as much of that. I got more of a like fan service, but not in a like sexual way, kind of experience
Also
with
sexual way.
Yeah,
Is there
maybe.
a sexual element in there? Because
People are having sex. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
right,
There's a really
Cool.
great scene in the 5th chapter involving a child that is very very very
Wait a
heartwarming.
second.
I suddenly don't want to know what we're talking about here.
I feel like the transition between.
Okay, so remember in the first chapter when they find out that there are old people in this world, and they're like, "Why is this person?" Turns out there's also babies in this world, and so there's this.
We were having the conversation about characters having sex, and then it was like something involving a child, and we're like,
I mean,
what?
like a baby was just born, and they they see a baby for the first time. You know, it's super cute.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's the small moments and the quiet moments and that character growth. That's the best part of this game.
Yeah, and even the big bombastic moments at the end of each chapter are like really cool too.
Yeah, I remember like crazy melodrama as well.
I busted a clock.
Yeah,
I think it was like one of the last things.
Okay, so that's around the end of chapter 2, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like you go around and you free the colonies from the Mobius control or whatever by busting all the clocks or whatever.
Yeah,
and
I've busted the first clock.
Each one of those colonies is like unlocks a hero character, and then once you unlock the hero characters, like you get a lot. You're able to like change your classes and stuff like that, and the class system is like fairly interesting. But I don't really feel like the classes were that different feeling when I'm in the individual combat.
Deep enough for how much of it they ask you to do. The game is too big for its. There's a lot of systems, but there's not much
depth to it, right?
There,
yeah. And
I can only do a team attack so many fucking times before I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, I felt like the combat in 2 like got a lot more interesting as it came along.
Everyone says that the expansion for 2 has the best combat.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, that's true.
That's the one I didn't play.
I still felt like one's like different characters felt very different. As opposed to the different classes in 3, if that makes any sense. Because like the first time I played Melia, who you can like summon little orbs and use elemental attacks and stuff like that was way different than playing as Shulk for like the first 30 hours of that game.
Team roles, but I mean it's all like UI vomit anyways. Like I'm so over the combat that I just put on auto combat.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm like 50 hours in. I also sort of had to stop playing this because of so many other things, but I just put on auto combat and I'm just desperately trying to get to my next objective point. Trying not to get into too many fights.
That's a valid strategy.
Yeah, you can just press plus and it'll do all the moves for you.
Fuck me dead.
It's like I don't like mentally want to do that, but for my own mental health, I have to. Like being able to go into a combat scenario, like the combat is like honestly pretty boring in this game compared to the previous ones. And I'll go in and turn on auto battle and I'll like scroll on my phone. I know.
The world is boring and the way you get around the world is boring. If I could just have the world and the navigation of Xenoblade X but with like the story and the characters of this game, I'd be so much happier.
I do think they would have benefited from you unlocking some sort of vehicle traversal. Like in the game, you do get a boat, but it only works in one section.
Yeah,
it's only on one section of the game. So like if you also unlocked car ish thing, like because
Or a
you're
flying
doing
mess.
you're doing so much running around in this game, and it's like you're just spending so much time running between objectives, and it's like once like I understand it from a story perspective doing that, but like once you're trying to like bounce around doing side quests and stuff like that, it's like I can't do this. I can't do this if I also want to play Kirby this year and I also want to play Triangle Strategy this year. It's like
I played both of those, but I
yeah.
didn't finish Xenoblade 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you got the better trade-off in terms of like depth of gameplay.
No, because I want to
Yeah.
see what happens with these characters. Dude.
Yeah.
It's all about Uni,
Um,
my man. All
so-
about Uni.
You don't even know, though. That's the thing. You don't
I
even know.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a moment with Uni that you don't like really get unless you follow down a side quest. That's the thing about the side quests in this game is that like you see there's something happens during the main story and you're like introduced to to like an aspect of their past, but you don't like they don't follow up on it on the rest of the main story. It's just kind of like interesting thing, and then all of a sudden I was doing this side quest and Uni's like, oh, this thing happened to me, and
Wait, like a side quest, not a hero quest?
I think it was a hero quest, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't want to do any side quests ever again in this game. I just want to do hero
I feel
quests,
that.
essential
I feel
quests, main
Yeah.
story.
So I mean, like I enjoyed what I did for it. I still think I like one's my favorite story, two's my favorite combat. 3, the character interactions are definitely the
Now, if
best
they could
of
just
this
bring it
series.
all together.
I know.
It's a good cast. 3's
Yeah.
a really good cast.
Any other games you've been playing lately?
Yeah,
you
so
wanna quickly mention?
I just started Sifu. Beat the second boss of Sifu.
Yes.
You son of a bitch.
like
It took me ages.
playing like I guess the guy with the cane, right, or the stick or whatever. Like
During my last stream, somebody finally explained to me how to hold triangle and like dodge, like without having to tap the button, and I was like, this changes everything.
Yes, and so that's the key to beating him. Is that like
you're beating everybody?
You just hold down the L1 or whatever, and you just hit left and right to dodge. And like
it's absolutely crucial for the third level's boss. Second level, I think you could just like what I did. I just did constant parries, and I was just fine.
Yeah, if you parry him, it works
you're
too.
so good at the parrying.
If you do the dodge, he opens himself up to attacks a little bit more than he does if you parry. So
I'm a little too trigger happy to effectively parry in this game consistently. So
it's
down
not easy.
holding down L1 and dodging left or right, got me through that fucking second boss the first time I learned how to do it almost. Also, that third level, I did it for the first time the other day. Holy shit, this game is beautiful.
I know.
Oh my god.
It's incredible, and it is really like as soon as I jumped into that first level with the streets or whatever, and you start beating up some guys, and you're like, oh,
it feels so
good.
Oh, I like this game.
but even better is when you unlock the shortcuts for each level.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Like
the cool thing is that shortcuts can be unlocked by finding items in later levels. You can be like, I found a key to a door in the first level. What?
Yeah,
like, that shit's cool.
I don't remember the exact order, but did you figure out the key for the shortcut to the third level, Nick?
No, not yet. I've only done the third level like once or twice.
Yeah.
But
that's gonna blow your mind when you find it.
I don't doubt it.
So speaking of shortcuts, I did play and finish Dark Souls 1 for the first time this year.
Congratulations!
I played it almost all on my Steam Deck.
How was that experience? Good.
It does kill the battery, but you know it's a strong gameplay experience even on Steam Deck. It's capped 60 FPS. If you try to reduce it down to 40, you like start getting sluggish because it's like tied to the framework, the CPU.
Yeah.
Or the game processing is, but it's classic Dark Souls. Like what's not to love about it? It was very good. I missed being able to dual wield like I did in Elden Ring, but you know, single sword and board is a good way to play. I also had the Claymore,
Nice.
The only problem that I had with it is if you're offline, you do not unlock Steam achievements. And even when you come back online, it doesn't like trigger. And so if you're like, I was offline when I started playing the game, and so I didn't even get the Estus Flask achievement. So I had
about you and the world today. There's somebody out there who cares about Steam achievements.
I care about.
Right.
I have platinumed, quote unquote, every single
No.
FromSoft game I played. Yes.
On Steam? I didn't know
Sek-
any. I thought people just.
yeah, Sekiro was on Steam. Bloodborne and Demon Souls were on PS5.
But it's so easy to go in there and flip a switch and be like, boom, I have all my Steam achievements, and that's why people don't take
Sure.
them. I know
You don't care about them until you don't get one when you know you should have. It's just it
Yeah.
just comes at you. Yeah.
I was annoyed because I was like, we took a train from DC to Virginia Beach, and I was playing on the train with like shitty Wi-Fi and like hotspot Wi-Fi because I was trying to level up my chaos weapon or whatever to 5+ so I could get the achievement. And as soon as I did it and it didn't pop, I was like, oh no. In the chaos weapon,
yeah.
you only get one of those embers in a round unless you like use the bird or whatever.
Well,
but
now you got to start over.
yeah,
That's the only option. But
um,
congratulations, that's a great game.
yeah, super fun. And I just started Triangle Strategy. I'm in chapter 3. I'm enjoying it so far. So
after chapter 3. I mean, that's
chapter 3 is where it
stuff
splits.
starts to pick up. Yeah,
because it splits.
Which path did you go?
I went to Hyzan.
or
Hyzan.
Okay.
Um,
The ice mage you get from there, he's cool. So.
yeah, he's cool. Yeah. And so, the first 3 chapters, it was in the prologue demo. It's obviously like things are going to happen after this, but it's a lot of reading or listening, if you want to do that for a lot of conversation, a lot of backstory, a lot of stuff like that. But I know that it like really picks up, and I'm enjoying it. I mean, there's only like 20 chapters in the game, and I'm already on chapter 3, so hoping to kind of burn through that. But what I really want to play is there are 2 indie games that are on my radar. Case of the Golden Idol. Have you guys heard of that one?
Yeah.
It's come up a few times.
It's the Obra Dinn.
Yeah, how long to beat
kinda
says 6 hours, and it's like, okay, I can definitely squeeze that one in. And then the other one's the Pentiment. Have you guys seen the art from that game? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I started
that's
it on a
Obsidian
stream.
title, right?
Yeah, I started it on
think so,
stream
yeah.
a couple weeks ago. First, I had to go pretty quickly after I started it, so I haven't played much. But like immediately striking, like playing that game is immediately like, damn, this is a cool looking game.
You're naming games for like bookish people. We don't play stuff like Citizen Sleeper around here. Kentucky Route Zero.
I gave Citizen Sleeper a try, and it's too much text.
You to sleep?
It literally put me to sleep. I'm not kidding. I was like dozing off playing that game.
Don't say that, because now Nick will never try it. It's fine.
Why is Brad attacking me for my taste in indie games? Bitch, you better be happy I'm playing indie games at all. You
what?
Son of a bitch.
Nothing you do makes me happy, Nick.
There it is. Somebody clip that out. You heard it here first. All right.
But I'm not looking for happiness in your game choices.
Here. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to very quickly talk about the Forspoken demo. We're going to talk about Potionomics. And then we're going to do our topic of the week, which, of course, is the Game Awards, the highlights from the community, what stood out to you guys, and we'll quickly run down the list of stuff that was announced, which was quite a bit. So we're going to make this a very short intermission because it's almost 10 o'clock. And when we come back, we'll got plenty more to talk about. So stick with us. Welcome back to the show, guys. Before we get to the topic of the week, we got 2 more quick mentions I want to get out. I want to squeeze in here. The first one being, this has actually been a quite popular topic of the past few days, is they dropped during the Game Awards, which we'll talk about shortly. They dropped a demo for Forspoken, which is out now on the PlayStation 5, and I dabbled in that, so I want to quickly get some impressions out for that.
But you dabbled?
Yeah, I
dabble. You just kind of fucked around a little bit.
Well, first and foremost,
I dabble, and I was hoping you did more than a dabble.
Well, did you enjoy it?
Okay, so that's a complicated question, Ed, because this demo just reiterated to me that I think certain kinds of demos, I don't want to say certain kind of games, because I think you can make a good demo for any game, but certain kinds of demos just don't fucking work. And I think RPGs suffer from this a lot, where it's like their idea of a demo is to just drop you in to essentially the deep end and say they're going to give you all these abilities
a
and let
decent
you
number
just,
of powers and stuff like that.
yeah. The fact that you don't get to learn this combat system from nothing
But
does this a
but-
huge
But
disservice.
it's giving you tutorials.
It's giving you tutorials, but like there is just something about the flow of this game that I think I suspect, I don't know because I don't have anything to compare it to, but I suspect that when you play the final game, it's going to ease you into this a lot slower.
You're right. You're
And
right.
this,
You're right about RPG demos, but I'm not sure if the things that people are frustrated with have anything to do with.
no.
Say,
I
how
have
many
plenty of
abilities they
frustration.
have.
No. I have plenty of frustrations about this. I've seen a lot. There's been kind of a lot of mixed reactions to the combat. I've seen personally. It's a game that's all about flash. I think traversal is a lot of fun. It like this, just you hold the button to parkour over everything, and just like the verticality and the momentum that you build as you run and stuff is really cool. I hope they use that to a good effect. It's kind of hard to tell in this demo. I played for about 30 minutes. What do you want me to tell you, Brad? I played for about 30 minutes. Is that not enough? When I say
you had already said 30 minutes?
No, but like I didn't just play
We've
for
already
5 minutes.
established
and
the
you
metric
answered it.
for how
I feel
the
like you were
minimum.
trying to get me to admit that I pulled a Chris Davis and played this for like 5 minutes and that was it.
No, I don't. I want to know how much you played because
I played for 30 minutes.
I also dabbled, and I feel like I've not played enough to actually decide whether if it's something I like or not. I mean, I know like the combat mechanics are like certainly different in terms of like how stuff comes out, I guess, but like that is something that you would have to just maybe spend a lot more time with the game or fully
Yes.
understand whether
I think
there's something is actually good or not, because I don't think I've had enough time with it. Ed, how much did you spend with the demo?
0.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
my
it's
first
just me
time
and you
seeing
that
it.
played this.
So yeah, that's the thing is I guess I need a little more, but some of the things that I found surprisingly frustrating with the demo are not so much like the oddities of the combat or the controls, but more
It's the
just
UI,
like
baby.
not even the UI. Like
Dude, the UI is fucked.
well,
But
it's
also,
weird and different. It's weird and different, and like, but it's also like not good in like Final Fantasy 15, which by the way, this has 15 energy for sure. My
yeah.
thing is like I can't like see the enemies. All I see is like grass,
Mm.
and like I lock
You're very
onto them and I see
gray
like the
and kind of like,
lock on thing, but it's like everything's blending in.
yeah, the
Nothing is
contrast isn't
standing
there,
out.
right?
Yeah, I can't see shit. And I can't see shit I'm fighting until like I'm either like on like not out in like the
Well,
grass or the wild. I can't really see shit. And it's
I
like
think
I
that
hate
problem.
that. I hate
I
that
think that problem.
visual blending.
I think that problem crops up more when you're in an area that's shaded, like where it's like you're under an overhang or there's trees casting shadows,
Or
whatever.
just
When
long
you're out,
grass. I
when
went
you're
off the
out in the
beaten path. When I got back up on that bridge where there was all those enemies in that little mini boss or whatever,
yeah,
things were a lot more clear. But even then, like really started to like blend in. Everything is just sort of like the same, you know, like I don't know. I just had a hard time seeing shit, and like I'd be thinking that I was done fighting guys, and then I'll be like, oh, there's actually like 2 guys here. I didn't
right.
fucking see them at all. It's
So
weird.
this is a game that I really do, and I think this kind of in everything that we touched in this demo, from the combat to handling the camera to navigating the UI to just everything, to me feels like I needed to be eased into this, not dropped into the fucking middle of it.
Okay.
I think the UI just in general needs a lot of work. Because it is a clusterfuck. It has this weird fisheye effect on it, which I
needs
don't.
You're not going to get a lot of work. It's coming
Let
out
me
next
tell
month.
you, there was a lot of work put into what they have.
No.
You mean you just need it to be vastly different, which is fine. They
Sorry, Brad.
leaned a little too hard into style, but
I
yeah,
use the words needs a lot of work incorrectly. I mean, obviously, it's not
Yeah.
going to change that much, but I do think it's a situation where if I had been eased into this from the very beginning of the game, maybe it wouldn't seem so overwhelming or hard to
Yeah.
navigate. But this
I
is
agree with what you're saying there.
it's a mess. Um,
So
And the
look,
camera, I
wanna,
think, needs a lot of stuff, and also being able to like trying to get used to like switching the spells mid combat is tricky, and it's just like I need
Yeah, you
to
had to
ease
press
into
the
all of
two
this.
two
Yeah.
shoulder buttons at the same time to do it. That's kind of weird.
Well, if
Wait,
you
what does
hold
that mean?
L1,
You press two of them?
no, when you hold L1, it pulls up a radial menu for your support
Yeah.
abilities. You hold R1, it pulls up your magic abilities, your offensive
Yeah.
magic abilities, and when you hold
But what
them
is he- what is-
together, you're switching between types of
Right.
spells, like between fire and earth,
Oh,
that
I
kind of thing.
did that with the D-pad.
I think maybe you can do it with the D-pad. I don't
Yeah,
know,
you could do it
but
with
yeah,
the D-pad.
you can use the shoulder buttons.
It was
Um,
it was strange.
so
all-
I want to ask real quick, because that when I look at this game and the footage I've seen of it, the first thing that comes to mind is that this is some kind of not spiritual successor, but not in that direction, to the original Infamous. How it is a very
mm,
range projectile based combat game.
Oh,
There is
no,
melee combat, but it's not exactly emphasized.
I mean, it definitely. I can see with some of the character movement and stuff, and like when you're shooting like lightning at like literally shooting like lightning bolts out of
Yeah,
her
that's
hands,
very
whatever.
Infamous.
But there is so much more to the magics. There's so many more
Yeah.
magic abilities and stuff
Yeah,
to it.
I mean,
and also, a lot of the support abilities, if you experiment with them, are really fucking cool. Like you can create an entire arena of fire around you, so that if you push enemies out, they'll hit the wall
cool.
of fire. So you can kind of create like an arena that forces them close to you, which is cool. Like
It
there's
does
some
look
neat
like
ideas.
that he had the fire sword in the earlier.
Yeah.
So like there is combat, and it seems like there's like you said, a little bit of like movement based kind of stuff, and like controlling the environment and stuff like that.
And then you
It's
can
cool.
hold
That's
the
cool.
you can hold the like the parkour button or whatever in combat, and you'll have kind of similar effects. You'll bounce off of stuff, you'll flip over the enemies, you'll bounce off of walls and trees and stuff.
Well, very
Does it feel
specifically, you
natural?
have
It feels good. I mean,
parkour versions of the moves that can do, like you can do like
Oh, there's
cool
like different
aerial
movesets if you have
strikes.
that enabled or whatever.
Well,
y-
what I found myself doing is specifically running into and off of objects and people, because I was able to trigger these like aerial attacks, which could be quite
yeah.
powerful.
That's cool.
Um,
Like
there's a vibe
we'll
there. I don't
talk.
know.
We'll talk
I'm more
about this
concerned
when
about
it
like
comes
the
out.
world being empty and like uninspired, kind of like some
Mhm.
sort of Japanese take on a Ubisoft game. And
Yeah, it's a little concerning.
obviously
I
some
don't
of
know if
the
that's what we're gonna get.
dialogue
And
is
you,
stupid.
I
But
want to say this. I turn the dialogue option all the way down, as low as it
why
can go.
was it bothering you?
I-
I was
Uh,
surprised when you said that, because you've always been like the kind of person who's like, this stuff doesn't really bother me. So to see you turn it down, it was surprising to me.
I mean, honestly, I probably can. I'm probably when I play the final game, it'll probably be somewhere in the middle.
She didn't seem like she
But
was talking that much to me.
there
I
was
thought,
it's not her. It's the fucking. She has like a talking bracelet that's constantly talking to you
It's not
when you're
Stephen
in
Merchant.
combat. No, it's not Steve.
How bad is it compared to like God of War?
It's bad.
different. It's
It's-
different.
Let,
mean,
let,
I'm
let me
just saying in
let's
terms
use
of
a better
frequency.
metric. Is it Biomutant bad?
No,
Yeah.
nothing
Oh,
is
well, no.
biomutant.
I mean, it's not
Biomutant.
nonsense.
Wasn't the
at
problem
least,
with
right?
Biomutant that it wasn't? Yeah, it wasn't English.
It wasn't English, and a lot. You were frequently like it was pausing the action while you were doing it. It doesn't pause the
Were
action.
y'all doing like
here.
the
Okay.
crit path when y'all were dabbling? Because I dabbled, but I went off the beaten path.
No,
completely.
and honestly, I kind of want to go back to the demo and actually see what kind of like story stuff is in here because I didn't do a lot of it. When
I
you
got a
like,
spell in the world. Did y'all get anything like that?
no,
Like I found this
no.
little like pond, and I went into it, and it was just like this. It was like my sunken place or whatever. She just sort of like went down into nothingness and started spinning around. And I'm like, what is going on here? And then I learned a traversal spell, and now I can climb up cliff sides. And I
That's
was like,
cool.
you just find
That's
this in the
cool, yeah.
world? That's weird, I guess.
Is
Man, but I kind of like the sound of that. Okay, I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time talking about this because it's coming out in like January or February or something. We'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
January
We'll say this:
24th.
But are y'all
the
playing?
the,
Are
re-
you gonna
the
pick it
reaction
up?
to this game has been pretty visceral. A lot of people are so obsessed with the voice talk, the over talkative thing, whatever. That's like driving a lot of reactions to this, which is fine. And I've seen a lot of people who played the demo and were like, "I am definitely not playing this." I had kind of like I've played the demo now, and I'm still not really sure about it, but it definitely has not talked me out of playing this. In fact, I'm really interested to kind of go back into the demo and explore more of it.
I kind of regret us even talking about this, having both only dabbled, because it feels like a waste. You know what I
Well,
mean?
we're not doing another show, like a regular show, for like 3 weeks.
That's
So like,
true.
what
That's
do you want me
true.
to tell you?
That's true. I'm
And
just
like I said,
frustrated because I don't think
that's
I'm
why.
going to go back to it.
Well, I'll talk about it when it comes out because I'm definitely I'll be playing this game.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this, I'm hoping the flashiness of the combat kind of keeps me
It's kind of
in
fun.
it.
Like,
I mean, it looks fun, right?
Is-
You're
is-
like dashing
I don't
around.
know how like skill based it is.
Is
Yeah,
there
right.
a spell that is essentially a magic machine gun?
There. So you can summon a support spell that summons like a thing that fires like fireballs at enemies for you, which is like one of 3 support spells they give you, which
Yeah,
is kind
my
of nice.
problem
Also,
is like
there's a
those are
support
heavy
spell that
cooldown
will.
based, and you can't
There's a
really
support
like
spell.
strings.
There's a support spell that summons like these like fire spears that kind of hover around you, but they only fire and target enemies when you are charging up other attacks. So if you're like stopping the action to like charge up a magic ability, they'll start like fighting for you to prevent
Oh,
things
that's
from
kind of
like
cool. Like,
which is
It's
But
cool,
you're not.
It doesn't, like I
crowd
said,
control kind of
everything has
stuff.
like a heavy cooldown, so you do it once and then it's just gone for a while. And it's like
which
I don't know if I can really construct any sort of combat strategy or even a build, God forbid, like around this ability. It just seems like there's a lot. It all seems really kind of shallow and flashy just to be flashy, but not really like
I don't know.
useful.
Only time will tell.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
just
know. They give you a lot, and you see those skill trees, and I don't see like the part of the skill tree where all of a sudden this skill is like
I don't know,
deep
dude. That's what
now.
I'm trying to say. When I open up the menu, go to the skill trees, my eyes glaze over. I'm just like,
But
what
you do
is this?
every menu.
No, I don't. Like it's just like they give it to you, and it's like all these things already unlocked, and it's just like
Yeah.
in your face,
But-
and I'm just like,
But I
what
was
is
looking
this?
at
But that's the nature
looking-
of like it being like throw you in immediate res, right? Like you have part of the skill tree already unlocked.
like
and so
I looked at the
I'm
nails
wondering what-
menu where she has like fingernails. They
Yeah,
give her
the-
like
the-
passive
you can
bonuses.
paint your
But
fingernails
those
to give you passives.
bonuses are so small. Like if I want to, if I can compliment
So are fingernails.
Neo God of War for a moment, you know, at least
God, we
they
gotta move
have
on.
when they do have like equipment and stuff like the bonuses and the boosts are like significant. If you're only working with like so many systems and so many slots and like one set of nails per hand or whatever, and like these few spells, like it needs to be like meaningful. You can't have like 2% boost to spell damage, which is what my nails did. Like that is nothing. You can't do that. It's like they understand that they're supposed to have something that says that, but they don't understand the bigger picture. And at least
There's-
God of War does, and of course other RPGs do. So
there's
I think
probably upgrades.
yeah, but I'm telling you,
I want to know what
it looks
this
sloppy.
character that you're playing in the demo. I want to know is this kind of what you should expect after like 40 hours of play, or is this like what you're going to be playing? What it's going to be like playing like 10 hours into the game? You know what I mean? I feel like I was dropped into like hour 40 or 50 of this game
What if
just
this
because
is
they
a
wanted to show
15-hour
off a bunch
game?
of flat. Oh no, I don't think so. I
Is
feel like
it?
I could spend 15 hours in just the size of the demo. Like it's a pretty massive
Well, I'd love to
landscape.
see you try.
Maybe I fucking will. All right, let's move on. Chris Davis, you wanted to talk about Potionomics.
Yeah, I will try to be brief on it. But it is a game I'm actually quite entertained by, and I do want to show it off because a lot of the people in this call are fans of deck builders and manipulate card games. And that's what Potionomics is in a lot of ways. It's got a lot of different mechanics and systems that kind of blend together to give you a mercantile simulator that's really fun to play. So you are to keep it short, you are the new owner of a potion shop on a remote fantasy island in this world, and you have accrued a significant debt that you've inherited from your dead uncle, and you have to pay it off. And this is a timed, stress-focused event game where every 10 days you have a competition that you have to go sell potions on in order to pay off your debt. And if you don't, you've got a soul contract on you, and you basically are becoming an indentured servant for the rest of your life.
Oh, this got dark real fast.
Oh yeah, there are some dark elements, but again, fantasy, whatever. So you have to build up your shop, build up your license and your skills and your equipment to create better and better and better potions in order to succeed and basically keep your shop and keep your freedom. But that does sound dark, but this is actually a pretty lighthearted game.
It looks pretty lighthearted.
It is. Half the mechanics of this game are about building your potions, collecting ingredients, and figuring out combinations and getting balances of ingredients in a potion to get stat bonuses and upgrades to the quality of them. And
Such a weird looking.
And the second third of the game is for you to go into these haggling session, which you're actually selling a potion to customers that come in. Each day there will be different bonuses or detrimental effects of the crowd and the community. Like some ingredients will cost more, or some quests that you may send your followers out on may have better benefits or less benefits. But also, like some customers will come in, like they'll be more sympathetic to you because there's a celebration going on that day or stuff like that. So you're haggling with them with this deck building card system that you play cards against the customer's patience meter to raise their interest in the potion, to in turn raise the selling value of the potion. And it becomes a risk reward system where do you want to go on and to your next turn, or do you want to sell the item now based on the level of patience of your customer, or do you want to go ahead and sell and take a risk at getting a lower value versus raising your character's stress level? That's the counterbalance for your main character, is that stress will be played upon you by your customer.
This is a game about managing stress.
I mean, that's part of it. So in the lower right-hand corner, you see a percentage marker and my character's portrait. That percentage corresponds to the chance by which a stress card will be enter into my hand. And based on how you build your deck, that you can find ways to get rid of those cards, but more often than not, the chances are that if you get a stress card dealt into your hand, you probably can't do much with it except try to find a way to end your turn and end the sale quickly. Otherwise, that card is going to get played and it's going to deal a negative effect towards you. Whether that's raising your stress meter or applying a debuff to your character. But that being said, that does sound tough, but the loop of building out your deck is fun to play through. The third part of the game is going out into the town to meet with the various characters that you build relationships with, to send them on quests, to collect ingredients, to buy ingredients, and to build relationships with them. And as you build relationships, as you rank up those relationships, the character-specific cards that they give you, they'll give you new ones, or they'll give you upgrades of existing ones. So you're building up your deck with various different combinations, to various different degrees. You can build out entirely, sales-focused ones. You can build out delay ones that are meant to build up patience in your customer. Also, just to, like, build up your end bonus sale value for your potions. It's actually really fun. I am really liking this game.
Is this one of those games? How much have you sunk in? How much time have you sunk into this game, Chris Davis?
So I'm over. I'm over the hump with the story pacing, because it's 5 competitions over 50 days, and each 9 days in the competition, and it repeats and repeats and repeats. So I know I'm over the hump. I've put about 18 hours into it. That's with.
Damn.
you have to also figure out that the brewing aspect of building your potions is a lot of trial and error and figuring out exact combinations. Because again, if you can get the right exact combination of ingredients for a potion, you can in turn get bonuses to the quality of it and increase the sale value and the quality of the potion. And each of the competitions has a specific requirement for the quality of a potion. And if you hit that marker, that's the baseline requirement for you to be able to even compete in that competition. But if you increase it beyond a certain value, there is a significant chance of you automatically winning a round of that competition. So, for example, if I have a greater quality potion that has a 3-star requirement, that'll be the baseline. But when I go to the competition, if I have a amount of that potion that is the next grade up, a superior potion versus a greater potion, there's a good chance that instead of having to do that battle round where I'm doing haggling with my target, I can automatically win it.
So you're getting into the nitty gritty of this.
I am. I know. I'm trying to go fast.
But you kind of lost me. But I do have one question.
Yes.
Somebody in chat did mention this. How much does this game have in common with Moonlighter? Do you remember that game?
I did not play Moonlighter. Nolan did.
Yeah.
The thing about Moonlighter is that in Moonlighter,
it's a merchant game.
Yeah,
but it's like an
that's
RPG.
That's where the similarities end. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a dungeon crawler when you're not doing the.
They're all knockoffs of Reciteer.
Yeah, this is Reciteer really, but you don't have, there's no dungeon crawling like in Moonlighter. You send out your friends on quests that you pay them for to go get random amounts of ingredients.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what happens. This. I guess the last thing I want to mention, because I already mentioned that I really like this game and it might end up on my game of the year.
You did. Wait, I'm sorry. Back up. What did you just say?
This might end up on my game of the year list.
Oh, I thought you said this might be my game of the year, and I was like,
no,
what?
no, it's not.
Be brave, be bold.
Probably my favorite part of the game is the animation quality. The characters emote, and they do it in such a lively way that it brings a smile to my face.
This has got a weird art style. I'm going to be honest.
It's a weird art style. It's also exuberant in how the characters talk to one another. And the writing matches up to the quality of the animations because you get all sorts of, quirky characters that bring on all sorts of situations that are really fun. I like every single character that I've met in this game, and I love reading the stories and the interactions you have with these characters that you can build up.
This is your Valhalla of 2022. you got to be careful. You got to be careful. These late. You know what? I'll make that my 4-player minute if we get to it. Which
we need to move on so we can get to it. I do want to say, Gamer Beck, you're right. I apologize, and I apologize to Chris Davis. My reaction to you saying this was your game of the year, me thinking you said this is your game of the year, I did not mean to imply that it can't be your game of the year. It was just kind of surprising.
Yeah,
that's all.
To you it could, but maybe to him it could.
I mean, in summation, I think
you're fucking right.
I think this is a really good game. If you like deck builders, I'm not saying this is a Slay the Spire. I'm not saying this is a number of great deck builders that have come out in the past couple of years, but this one's pretty dang good.
It scratches an itch.
The only detriment I will say about this game is that it's not voice acted, but I understand exactly why they didn't do that. So I highly endorse
money.
This game. Really, it's not money. It's that
I know. I'm just teasing.
They would have to get the animations to match up to the lip sync, and that requires a lot more work.
Maybe that's what's holding back Pokemon and all the other.
A lot more work means a lot more money.
Obviously not money.
All right. So I want to talk about the Game Awards next. That was last week. We didn't obviously have a podcast last week because we were watching the Game Awards. And there was a lot of stuff that was announced. I quite honestly, just in terms of, we've seen a lot of this show. And sometimes it's a huge letdown in terms of just like exciting stuff to see and whatnot. But there's actually
summer shit.
Yeah, like the summer show that he did, which was just wow. But this show, I think, might have been one of the better lineups we've seen from the Game Awards. And plenty of
Well, let's
weird,
hit the big
cringy
one.
moments. So what I wanted to do, because we've been doing this topic of the week, so every week I kind of look through what's being talked about in Discord a lot, and I want to draw attention to those conversations. So we asked people to kind of tell us what their favorite announcements were from the show. So I kind of want to go through these, and then we'll just kind of go run in the list of other things that we were excited about after seeing this. So I asked people to say what was their favorite announcement from the show, and what is one game from the show that they anticipate has the most potential to overpromise and underdeliver. So if y'all are cool with it, I'll just run down these from the community, and then we'll go off our own list. So Mr. Green Toast was the first one to write in. He said, one, he was so happy to see Remnant from the Ashes get a sequel. The first game had solid gunplay with roguelike runs to fight random bosses and different encounters. So he's very, very excited about that. What was here? I have the list here. What was the name of that sequel? If anybody else has that,
2.
It's Remnant 2.
Is it really just Remnant 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. Remnant 2. And as far as the game that has the most potential to overpromise and underdeliver, I actually saw this response quite frequently in here, but he said Judas, which was Ken Levine's next game, got a trailer. And said, well, the trailer
was too easy
great.
to pick that one, right?
Yeah. I think actually it was picked quite frequently here.
What did y'all think of Judas?
Uh,
I mean, I'm really excited about it. I was honestly kind of nervous that like when we finally did get a look at his next game, his first post BioShock game, it was going to be something that just was so far removed from BioShock that I was going to be uninterested in it. And this turns out this looks very BioShocky.
So BioShock.
BioShock.
I
am fucking hyped.
BioShocky.
Yes. It looks like we know next to nothing. We know, see, I don't think that narrative Legos thing is going to come to pass. It seems like at some point this game veered back towards pretty safe. You know what I mean? But maybe we just haven't seen enough of it yet.
We've seen nothing. We know nothing about it. What we saw is like a reel of art. Like we didn't see anything.
Right,
Yeah.
but all we have right now is kind of an idea of like the personality and the kind of maybe the atmosphere tone that they're going for, which is very BioShocky.
It does have a lot of charm.
Yeah, it has. I've watched that trailer a few times. It looks really, really cool. Mr. Green Toast says he recalled in the news earlier this year that the game was in development hell for Levine's quote-unquote kinception being too over-ambitious and causing the design to shift around a lot, which is kind of what we were talking about in terms of the narrative Legos. That's what Brad brought up.
Yeah.
So
indie devs have been doing that forever. So, but whatever.
On the flip side,
you're special.
Yeah. On the flip side, full dark gear wrote in and said Judas was his favorite announcement from the show. He said he's very wary of Ken Levine these days. And the messy development that surrounded this game, but the blend of RPG, shooter, narrative, and other mechanics wrapped up in a crazy imaginative setting that is often found in the immersive sim genre always gets him excited. I don't disagree. And he said the game that he saw that has the most potential to underdeliver is Behemoth. I don't believe for a second that this game is going to look or operate as well as it presents itself in VR. This is that game that was announced for PSVR 2. It looked kind of like Shadow of the Colossus meets, I don't know, Dark Norse mythology or something. I looked into this a little bit further because they posted about this game on the PlayStation blog. I didn't realize that they didn't really say it on the stage, but this game is developed by the same team that did The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners, which was a really cool VR game. Really good use of that license. Yeah, and that in and of itself gives me faith in this project because if nothing else, they have a really good grasp on cool ways to use VR tech. And this showed like footage of them like ripping trees out of the ground and like swinging them at enemies and like climbing these giant colossus-like enemies. Yeah. Maybe he's right. Maybe it'll underdeliver, but that was a highlight of the show for me, for sure.
And it looks like it is on Quest and Rift as well.
That was
not just
highlight.
PS2.
Huh. What about Armored Core 6?
Wait, Brad, you're getting ahead of yourself. I'm still going down the community list here. And I'm sure someone will probably bring that up. We'll get to it, Brad. Gonzo's.
I thought we're supposed to say what might be overpromised. Okay, never mind.
I
was confused. I thought it was
I'm
a
reading the
prompt.
community responses first, and then I'll give you. Then you'll get a chance.
I thought he asked a question. That's all.
Wait, what?
I thought he
Continue
asked
on.
a question about.
Let's
Oh
go.
my God, Brad, you're killing me.
Okay.
Well, Brad, go ahead. What
No.
what's-
Go. I thought we were supposed to say what will over deliver. Continue.
Fucking killing me, Brad. God damn it, Gonzo. He said it's a tough call, but it's either Final Fantasy 16 or Baldur's Gate 3 being his most excited announcements. He didn't play Baldur's Gate 3 Alpha because I wanted to wait until it was finished. I'm not too nervous about the gameplay as they have been taking in feedback from players who've played it. I just hope the lore and characters are engaging throughout.
Oh, I would not worry about that, my friend.
Yeah, Crispy seems pretty enthused
It's
about
pretty
that.
good.
And he says, as for 16, I'm more interested to see how the Final Fantasy 14 writers can pull off a story that can rival the best ones in the series. Gameplay wise, I will have to wait and see. And in response to the second part of the question, he says the game to overpromise is easily Judas, which he echoes Green Toast's sentiment. I think it's pretty common sentiment. Brad, real quick before I do another community. Tell me, what game do you expect to overpromise, underdeliver? Go.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a Green Toast thing, not everyone.
No. This is the question that we asked the community, and now I'm reading their answers. But
okay.
I do pose the same question to you.
Yeah, I just didn't know how. The thing is, I don't know how many there are, so
There's like 6.
I didn't know when to interject.
Whenever you want. I'm asking you now, Brad. Go.
I think people have lofty expectations for Armored Core 6, and I really hope it delivers on those. Because if
just because it's FromSoft, now FromSoft,
yeah,
basically.
we're living in a post Elden Ring world, right?
Right.
Like, I'm a little concerned.
They've already said that this is not an Elden Ring. Like this is not.
This is not a Souls game.
Open world.
Exactly. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't.
But it's not about that. It's about
Dark
like
Souls or.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Armored Core 5 came out after like Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I'm pretty sure, and people. I mean, that game didn't review well, right? And this is like just called Armored Core 6, which has me wondering why. Why is this called Armored Core 6? Why,
Because
if this
fuck you,
really
that's
is,
why.
if this really is something different for Armored Core, like people are hoping, like most of us are hoping, because we want mech souls and all that, right?
But they've said this is not. They have said this is not mech souls.
Yeah, this is going to be a
they didn't
traditional
say that
mission-based
literally.
thing like classic Armored Core.
But we're not even
That
talking
doesn't
about
mean it's not mech
mission-based.
souls.
No. But they have specifically said this is not a Souls game. Like you're not going to be entering the combat loop of Souls is not going to be just layered on top of Armored Core. This is
Not literally,
there's a whole
but philosophically.
I mean, I don't think you're going to be going out killing mechs, dying, reloading at a bonfire, and then going out to try and recapture your experience or something. Like that's just not what this game is. The loop is entirely different. It's level based. Which honestly, when you said level based, and I knew this was from, I was like, so it's going to be kind of like Neo with mechs, but
yeah,
but Neo is a Souls game, like significantly
level-based Souls game.
Like, is there going to be more of the like slow, methodical combat elements of Dark Souls? I think that's what people are mostly like thinking that could be possible, not like the nitty gritty like bonfire mechanics or anything that, right?
It's already too overhyped, and if it's just an Armored Core game,
exactly,
and like maybe a poor one like the last one, I think that's going to be like super disappointing for a lot of people, because they're like, Miyazaki is directing it, and it's like,
well, it's not Miyazaki directing it though.
Well, producing
it's the
whatever.
It's the director
his
of
name's
Sekiro.
attached to it, right?
It's the director of Sekiro is doing this.
Yeah, but they're throwing around shit like that. Like From Software hasn't done a billion other projects. Like this is
George R. R. Martin involved?
No.
You see what I mean, right? Like Jeff Keighley was in tears on the stage. like that already set expectations way higher than any Armored Core has ever had before. So
it's funny. I thought you were.
that one has a
assumed you were
chance
making
to
a joke.
under-deliver.
I assumed
Do
you were
you
making a joke, and then I remembered you're right. He was kind of. You could tell he was on the verge of tears.
do you
He was
think
making so much money.
do you think though that now that they are the developers of Elden Ring, that like they're feeling the pressure more? It's like shit matters a lot more now than when 5 came out and Dark Souls was still kind of like this up and coming like scrap. Like Elden Ring is way more mainstream than Dark Souls was when it came out.
Yeah.
Like do you think now that it's like okay, this
Well,
one fucking matters. Like we gotta, it's not gonna be like Dark Souls, but we've gotta take something that we've learned in the last 5 years and improve whatever the fuck went wrong with the last Armored Core game.
I think that absolutely is the case here. I mean,
Well,
FromSoft it was not a household name necessarily the last time they made an Armored Core game. Like it didn't have the
no, it
same
was
effects.
though.
Like no,
Right?
not the way. Like even after Dark Souls 1 came out, when it was starting to become a phenomenon, I don't think FromSoft was. It wasn't until they did Dark Souls 2 and then Bloodborne. Like I think Bloodborne might have been the turning point.
Bloodborne
Obviously,
was a big one.
Yeah.
I think Bloodborne
Yeah.
was kind of when
It was
it shifted.
pre-Bloodborne, I guess. Maybe
It was
the one-
it was the year after Dark Souls came out is when Armored Core
Yeah.
5 came out.
But
yeah.
I mean, it was enough to where like that was. The point is, if it's just another fucking Armored Core, like Armored Core is not even necessary.
No.
It was niche even at its best,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
like definitely not for everyone. So I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at. I want it to be something like different and special, because I want like maybe that sort of what the qualities of a From game, but in like a vastly different setting and scenario and mechs.
It's just that they've
But
got to be a different developer with different priorities
I want
by
it to
now.
be the Surge, but awesome. Really,
Yeah, that could be cool, but
That
yeah,
would be
who's-
next
sick.
community
All
member.
right, yeah.
who is it?
J Hit wrote in. I'm gonna pair because we are short for time, so I'm gonna paraphrase some of the stuff. So I do apologize, but J Hit wrote in. So there's a few good announcements this year that I thought were, but there was 2 standouts for him. The first one being the Castlevania DLC for Dead Cells.
That's
This is
cool.
I
Yeah.
love Dead Cells, and all the DLC they've done so far has been really great. And then he goes on to say that the other standout for him, and this is also for me, this was a standout, was Banisher's Ghosts of Eden. This is the next Don't Nod game,
Yeah.
and it's like an action, it's like an supernatural Norse
A little
mythology
a
action
little more
game.
closer to vampire or vampire than
Yeah.
Life is Strange, right?
Exactly. And and who knows, their history of that kind of game has been kind of, I don't want to say rocky, but inconsistent.
Yeah.
But this looked really, really cool. If you had shown me that trailer and didn't tell me it was Don't Nod, I never would have guessed it was Don't Nod. So that's pretty exciting. And then he also echoes other people saying Judas has the most potential to flop. So like I said, a lot of
just
people said
hate
Judas.
BioShock 2. I mean, BioShock Infinite and Ken Levine now.
Well, that still
So,
blows my mind, but
That's
whatever.
why they're all saying that.
Kenton says my favorite was definitely Remnant 2. Another vote for Remnant 2. And then I don't think this is necessarily going to underdeliver or overpromise, but it's more of a disappointment. He says Hades 2. I've always liked seeing Supergiant do a new thing with their games. I'm sure it's going to be great and fans will love it, but I'm sad that it's not a new game. And he's not alone.
I feel that.
in that.
I feel that, yeah.
I kind of get that, but also, god damn it, I love Hades so much. I'm totally down for more Hades.
I mean, all their games are pretty cool, but like Hades is the first one to really be like, no, this is like them firing on all cylinders. Like Hades is better than their other fucking games.
They
And
are
I know
doing early
I know
access
it's
again.
disappointing, but I figure out like the first few games are them just trying to like figure out like what they're really good at, and Hades is the one where they just sort of nailed it. And it's also like sold and like extraordinarily way more than any of their other games combined. So
Yeah.
it's not surprising.
Drunken Merchant says, I'm with Kenton. Remnant 1 was so good that improving what's already there will... Everybody is excited for Remnant 2. Maybe I should try that shit.
I don't get it. I played that first one with some friends, and I thought it fucking sucked, dick. I hated
It's not
it.
bad. It's just you gotta wrap your head around.
I
a few things with it.
fucking hated it. But
You
then
gotta
again,
play it for 30 minutes. Though,
yeah, I only played it for like an hour, which definitely doesn't count. But like, wow,
all right,
it's like janky Destiny. Which I mean, come on,
Ah,
Destiny.
Wow.
I love Destiny, but like, come on, like Nick, don't do this to yourself.
wait, me? What are you talking?
I'm
She
saying,
said you wanted to
don't,
play it.
don't pretend this is going to be a game that you're going to enjoy and want to play, because it's just not. It's
Okay,
just
noted. Thank you, Crispy. You saved me.
I heard it was like Resident Evil 4 Souls.
Drunken
yeah.
merchant goes on. He says, Judas, mind you, I want this game to be a banger. Be the banger that it looks like, and it's probably my favorite trailer from the show. But remembering the development of Bioshock Infinite and how the game was not at all what they promised is sus AF.
I swear to God, if 2K would have never put out that fucking demonstration of the blimps and the postman and all that,
No, no,
Dude.
no.
Mm.
It is
Dude,
not
I think this
about
would be a-
that.
seems to be different
Wasn't there like
conversation.
scenes in that game where they were like, "Is racism bad?"
Oh no, there's
Like-
absolutely some absolute bullshit
Like-
in there.
Like that
No.
game is just weird and dumb and bad.
And also, you got to understand the last taste that Ken Levine left in everyone's mouth was them basically saying like, "I want to do this, but with not so many people." And then they just like fired hundreds of people because Ken Levine's a fucking douche. That's why
Yeah.
everyone hates Ken Levine.
He sucks.
Damn.
I
The
thought that was
way
a
that
2K order, if I
studio
remember correctly.
irrational like fell apart, and Ken Levine's like, I just want to keep a few of my guys and go make my own studio. Like that, this is what left everybody with a bad taste in their mouth.
Well, that's
So-
not what happened, but okay.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean,
We're not gonna. Let's have that conversation off the feed. I want to keep going here. We got another vote for Hades 2 from Prince. Another vote for Judas as a potential to underdeliver from Prince.
It's called Judas, for Christ's sake. I mean, come on.
Takuski
Little
says
on the nose.
Hades 2 is the winner for him as most anticipated from the show. It's no Bastion 2, but beggars can't be choosers. He also says Baldur's Gate 3 has and it's Baldur's Gate 3, and it's honestly not the fault of the developers. I love the concept of D&D 5th edition in video game form, but I logically know that they can't bring in that sort of creative freedom that the tabletop RPG has. I know that, but I'm going to go into it with a dumbass, chaotic mindset and try to do something zany and get disappointed when the game says no, despite knowing better beforehand.
has this person
You'd
not
be
played
surprised.
Divinity Original Sin?
You'd be
Like,
surprised. Like, yeah, it is
like-
more structured than like a typical game of D&D. But like, holy fuck, man! Like, they kind of accounted for a lot of shit.
People weren't excited that Larian got a hold of the Baldur's Gate license because it was D&D. They got excited because the original Sin games were so fucking good.
yeah,
and-
because they're basically just like tabletop RPG simulators with like
you have a lot of like
really
freedom
cool-
in the way you interact with the world and the elements and the way you approach quests. It's perfect for Baldur's Gate, so I wouldn't be too worried about it.
All right, so first of all, thank you everybody who wrote in your thoughts this week for the topic of the week. Really appreciate it. I just want to quickly run down some of the other announcements. Feel free to interject.
Hey, that Bayonetta spin-off game,
Bayonetta Origins.
that looks so bad and boring. Did you know that there's actually like a preview demo of that game in Bayonetta 3 as a secret unlockable chapter? And like people didn't know that it was like a demo for this new game until the Game Awards announcement revealed it as a new
Right.
game. And
Yeah.
it looks like bad and boring. And let me tell you, like a narrative focused anything from Platinum is probably a bad idea. So I love Bayonetta and I love the character. I love those games, but like, don't do this. This is not good.
not like
Yeah, so that's Bayonetta Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon. Yeah.
Mouthful.
Quick shout out. I want to in the pre-show they announced a game called Viewfinder, which looks
That
fucking
looks really cool.
Yes.
mind blowing.
Mind blowing. It's like Superliminal almost, right?
That looks crazier than Superliminal.
Yeah.
And Superliminal was pretty crazy.
oh yeah, that
It
one
doesn't
With-
look crazier than Superliminal. It looks
Oh,
different.
it
but looks
does.
good.
But yeah, keep an eye out for that one. Also, they finally showed a game called Post Trauma, which looked like Silent Hill, where you're playing as like a janitor. It was, but that game looks rad. I'm stoked for that. They showed more Street Fighter 6. There's a game called After Us. I don't remember which one that was, but I have an asterisk next to it, so I think it probably looks pretty cool. I don't know. They gave it a release date for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, May 26th.
Where are people
Uh,
on that one?
That game's gonna be pretty
Is it a
cool.
service game? I heard it was like Avengers or something.
I don't think they've ever specifically said.
I think we're kind of waiting for the actual like pre-release marketing rollout to start getting details like that. Star Wars Jedi Survivors got a release date of March 17th.
Pretty cool trailer. Pretty cool trailer.
Earthblade, which was like the Celeste follow-up or like spiritual successor to Celeste or whatever.
I don't know if it's a follow-up or more just kind of like from the same studio kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a lot of people were like, "Is this Celeste too?"
Definitely platformer kind of.
Yeah. It looks cool though. Koji Pro announced Death Stranding 2, which, to be honest, I was totally kind of expecting them to announce something totally new and different. I'm surprised we're getting a Death Stranding 2. I'm surprised we're getting Death Stranding 2 in general, and I'm also surprised that they're already announcing it.
It's the new Metal Gear. We're gonna get 3, 4, 5.
I mean, yeah. The
It'll
man
keep
made
going.
Metal Gear since the 80s. I mean, I guess
there's been all these
he's doing a sequel.
There's been all these rumors about them working on a horror game and working on like
there's
completely
another
different
project
shit.
in the works.
I know.
Yeah.
I was hoping this was going to be where they'd announce that. I figured we'd get an announcement for a new thing before we got an announcement for a sequel.
That project is not nearly far enough. And And remember that Death Stranding 1 was announced when the game was barely in pre-production. And it has been over 2 years since Death Stranding 1 came out.
I know.
You want something new from Kojima, but I don't see you playing Boktai, Nick.
Well, that game is insane because it's built to be played on a Game Boy, and the Game Boy was the worst possible console to play a game that's focused on having sunlight reflected on the cartridge to power your character up, because you can't see the fucking screen in the middle of the sun.
Oh my goodness! Can't believe we just
that's an actual thing.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what Boktai was. It was an anti-vampire game.
I wasn't intending to talk about Boktai in detail.
Tekken 8, they show Brad, Tekken 8, anything? Do anything for you?
They didn't really show too much.
Is Julia going to be a VTuber?
You're killing me.
She might not be in it at all, I don't think.
Baldur's Gate 3 got a release window of August 2023. That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Diablo 4 got a new trailer and a release date of June 25th. They showed the first expansion for Horizon Forbidden West, which is called Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores, which looks like takes place
set in Los Angeles.
Set in Hollywood, Los Angeles. Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
I really
if you go back, you remember Horizon. Oh my God, why am I blanking? Someone help me
Zero
out.
Dawn.
No, the expansion for Zero
Frozen
Dawn.
Wilds.
Frozen Wilds, like that was a really cool expansion, and they're playing with like the elements like hot and cold, like so this one's like it's pretty cool looking.
Horizon? You all ready for more Horizon?
Oh yeah, I mean
I'll play that. I just finished that game too, and I'll play that DLC. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly around on my fucking pterodactyl some more.
Frozen Wilds
the other day. I'm actually really excited for Horizon 3 because like the week after, like a landmark game is going to come out.
That's how it works.
That's funny. That's true. It's absolutely fucking true. Transformers reactivated. I just bringing this up because I called it. Nobody knew that was a Transformers game until I saw the yellow like robot hand, and I was like, "It's Bumblebee," and I fucking.
I want you to know, Nick. I wasn't
like Bumblebee.
I wasn't in the call before or when that was happening, but like I called it before you did. I can't prove that it happened, but it did happen.
Movie Bumblebee looks like, Nick.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
there's a lot of problems with this game. I feel.
Chris Davis, we don't need to go. It's transfer. I don't think anybody here is really that interested in it, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
Let's talk about it after this thing.
Sure. That game Banishers I mentioned. Space Marine 2 got a new trailer, and I think it just said 2023, which bring it. I'm on. I'm ready for that game. Looks fucking cool.
I love it. I love it.
Let's see what else. They showed that
Lords of
game
the Fallen sequel called The Lords of the Fallen. It's just silly.
Jaeger was so upset.
Jaeger was in chat, was so mad about that.
What are they? University of Miami?
Cyberpunk.
They brought Michael Madsen on stage to talk about Crime Boss.
With
that was
an
weird.
insane like casting stuff going on with that.
That was weird.
Yeah.
like Ed said, Cyberpunk 2077,
Cyberpunk.
Phantom Liberty, starring
Yeah,
Idris Elba.
DLC. We'll
I
see.
should probably play Cyberpunk at some point. And of course, we've already covered Armored Core at this point. It's called Fires of Rubicon, by the way. And they closed out with a new trailer and release date for Final Fantasy 16, which is June 22nd. That trailer and that game continues
That's
to
how
look
they
pretty.
ended?
Yeah, that's how they ended.
Is gameplay still looking a little Forspoken-y?
Uh,
Anyways, I gotta go, guys.
all right, Brad. I just want you to know, Brad, this is my 4-player minute, but you're leaving. I pre-ordered a PSVR 2.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
Ugh. Aren't those expensive?
Yeah, they're kind of expensive.
$500. It's crazy.
Yeah, don't say it out loud, Ed. It's not real if you don't say it out loud.
Mr. Moneybags
Next will
over
be like,
here.
I bought 2.
I bought 3 of them actually.
Now, did
Nick's
you
one of the
pre-order it today
idle
for the?
rich?
Did you
Huh?
pre-order it as soon as you heard about the Village DLC? Resident
No,
Evil
I
8?
pre-ordered it. No. I pre-ordered it. It's funny. I actually pre-ordered it because I knew they were doing the kind of like the PS5 thing they were doing, where it's like they're sending invites out, right, to pre-order it. So I just decided one morning. This is before they announced that they were doing pre-orders for it. It was like the afternoon, the day after I pre-ordered. But like I went in, I was like, so what does this thing cost? And I like went to the PlayStation's website and it was there. It just said click here to pre-order. I was like, there's no way. And I clicked it and it just let me do it. And I was like, I guess I'm doing this. But to be honest, well, I'll talk about that in my 4-player minute, which we'll get to in a second. Well, Brad's gone. I wanted to. Who here is anybody here? Final Fantasy 16. Where is everybody on Final Fantasy 16?
Woo,
Huge.
bring it
I'm so
on.
excited. Are you kidding me?
Does anybody else feel? Does anybody else feel like Final Fantasy 16? I'm excited because it has the writers from Final Fantasy 14, right? That's the reason why a lot of people are excited.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for
Oh,
that.
have you played
But-
14, Nick?
Yeah, I played about 20 hours of it.
But you haven't played like the stuff by the writers that people are excited about. Okay,
Right,
gotcha.
correct. Yeah, correct. But I know they're revered and it's
Yeah, review, yeah.
But like I every time I see this game in motion, I'm like, this looks pretty cool, but it also makes me feel like I'm looking at a Final Fantasy spin-off, like one of those like Dirge of Cerberus games.
Dude, fucking good.
Rangers of Paradise.
Mainline Final Fantasy sucks.
Damn it, Crispy.
I
I want Final Fantasy 16 to deliver, and I want it to make me feel the way I felt playing Final
It
Fantasy.
sounds like you award this one the most likely to overpromise and underdeliver.
For me personally, maybe this has the one that has the most potential to underdeliver.
I want this game to fix my marriage.
But hey, Ed, what was your favorite announcement of the show?
I mean, Baldur's Gate
Which one?
3 is cool. I'm interested in that Immortals of Aethem, even though it was just a reveal trailer with nothing there really. I don't know. I'm excited about Forspoken. The Fire Emblem game looks weird. I don't know how I feel about
Engage?
it. Yeah, it's like I'm definitely gonna buy it and play because I'm a sucker. But like the weird like fact that you have like people from previous Fire Emblem games as your like avatars or whatever, and I don't know. It seems like a little bit too fan servicey, and I mean, you know that everyone on the internet calls the main character Colgate, right? Because of his hair.
The red blue thing.
Yeah, it's silly. It's stupid. I really don't. I was really hoping after Three Houses that they wouldn't like turn it back into the skid that like kind of lost me in Fates with the anime characters. But you know
what? Hot take here. I kind of like the new visual, like just the new design. I don't know why.
Oh, I don't of the main character.
I like toothpaste. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I mean, the other characters look cool.
I like the red blue kind of dichotomy. I don't know. It's probably gonna be dumb. But something about it is.
I'm gonna play it because I have to. I have to play the new Fire Emblem.
I have to. For me.
I mean, like if they improve the mechanical systems, like the depth of the systems at all, like they did with Three Houses, then I'll be happy. Because having the little armies or whatever that you attach to your characters was like a huge game changer. Not necessarily in terms of like really that much gameplay wise, even though it did have that. It was like just made you feel like you were a commander of an army rather than a commander of like a squad, you know?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I am kind of eager to see how that turns out, though.
I
all
want
right.
to mention, like, Judas was my favorite announcement of that show. Armored Core is a solid second because
I think I'm kind of right there with you on that.
yeah,
Like,
I think that is the one I'm most curious about though, and I'm kind of surprised nobody mentioned it, is the Hellboy game.
oh,
Yeah, I don't know
Because
what to think about that.
I don't know. I think they
I'm
demonstrated what the
excited
game
about
is.
that.
Yeah, and the
I
art
wanna know
style looks
more.
incredible.
You want to, dude? You know what is insane to me, Nicholas? I think if you read the Hellboy comics, it would be your favorite thing in the world ever.
Ever?
Ever.
Ever?
I think it hits every single note of things that you like.
Crispy, I think we already had this conversation.
I'm just saying, Nick.
Remember
I'm
when
just
you
saying.
told me? Remember when you very
I'm not trying to shame you or anything. I'm just saying it would be so cool
I
if
believe
you
you.
read Seeds of Evil.
I
and
believe
just
you.
like see how you felt.
I mean,
I just also remember
Hellboy.
you very succinctly telling me that I've peaked in life. I will never find something I like more than Dexter, and that what's the point of even going on?
Well, that is also true because you're not going to read Hellboy. So I mean, like,
I feel attacked. Yes.
The Hellboy is basically the X-Files, but like 500% paranormal stuff.
Oh, I know what
just-
Hellboy is.
It's just
but
really
Crispy's
cool.
right.
Nick, did you see that Scars Above game? The like kind of Returnal-ish kind of like game-ish kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I don't have that written down here. I was thinking of
Yeah,
something
it was shown during the show. I mean,
Yeah, it's kinda like-
it was actually shown last year for the first time, and then we got
Oh,
a better
okay.
look at it this year.
It's
But
like
I
over the
didn't write it
shoulder
down.
action kind of game. Maybe some puzzly stuff. I don't
more,
know.
more
looks neat.
narrative
Look-
focused
look-
and slower
look
than
neat.
Returnal.
Yeah, definitely. I
neat.
mean, it's not as like heavy on the combat. I think, but
For
like,
sure.
I don't know. It looks cool.
Yeah.
Looks more like a lot of puzzly fights than more of the like run and gun kind of stuff.
Right.
Mm.
All right. I think that pretty much we kind of nailed a lot of the stuff here. Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up with the 4-player minute. Ed, would you like to start us off this week?
Sure. So I'm gonna try my best not to be like overly spoilery in this. But have y'all seen the Twitter thread from the guy that did the audio design of Tunic?
No.
No, I have not.
Okay.
Well, actually, I've seen parts of it. I have seen parts of it.
Okay.
Brad, what's
So-
Brad doing? He's like shuffling around and shit. He's still on the call. Sorry, this is driving me crazy.
I muted him. So, but yeah. So suffice it to say, make sure you finish the game before you go and read the whole thread. But just like there's a language in the game that's in text,
Mhm.
basically there's also a language with the sound design. And it blew my mind when I read this thread.
It's like everything in that game, man. Oof.
I know. It's incredible. Like, this is just like they spent so long from original announcement of this game to release, and you can tell, and like there's a picture of his notes that he did, and someone like drew a picture, like drew him, and like kind of with this crazy like math stuff going on in his head while he's like designing the sound. It's crazy. I'll link it in somewhere, but it's super cool. Highly recommend it. I highly recommend that game, and
if you could send me that link, I'll post a link in the show notes. That's
it's crazy.
That
but
game is
yeah,
so good.
That game is so good. If you have not had a chance to play it, like, I mean, it's really good, very good. I know that Brad was like struggling getting through one of the later sections of the game, and I remember that section being a little tough too. But
being a wee bit of a bitch. Yeah.
But I don't think that section of the game diminishes from the rest of the experience at all.
Right. All right. Thank you, Ed. Chris Davis, would you like to go next?
Okay. I guess My 4-player minute is
No, Brad, you're not muted.
We can hear you
muted
jerking
him.
it.
I muted him. The feed can't hear him. So
The feed can't hear him, but we can totally hear him.
Yeah, thank
well, Brad was jerking off, so that's what you guys missed.
No, maybe I shouldn't have muted. Could have used that for the patrons. Anyway,
In his butthole.
I am sweating about Game of the Year stuff. Mainly because
You made the due date Christmas Day, man. Come on.
I did, but I always make the due
What are you
date Christmas Day. I just didn't expect y'all to fucking deliver finally. Like it's
Well, no
been doing
one's
this for
delivered
nearly
yet.
10 years at this point. Like, oh, and now he cuts it. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh no! What is happening?
He
I
just
think I finished your 4-player minute.
Great. The feed looks terrible, but okay.
do you have
There it
the
is. Okay,
four?
it's fixed. It's fixed.
He fucked us.
Anyway,
He fucked us good.
I'm just sweating about it because I only get. Okay, here's the thing that's I'm having problems with is that one of the games I've been most anticipating for the past several years is
It's a fuzzy
Sports
December,
Story.
Chris Davis.
Fuzzy
December.
It's Sports Story. I have been looking forward to this game for so fucking long. And last month at the Nintendo Direct, they announced December. It's December 15th right now as we're recording.
It's not coming.
It's
It's
not
a
coming.
Christmas miracle. Chris
No,
Davis,
it's-
don't let the haters convince you otherwise.
I need this game in my life, and I need it soon so I can include it in the Game of the Year stuff because it's not going to
you
be
don't get
remembered a year from now. It's the
If you don't
problem.
get it soon,
You're-
you should
it
do
will
something
be.
drastic.
Your job is to make people remember, Chris. Like, put it on your top 10 list of
That's
next
what
year.
we pay you for.
That's what the fuzzy December is for. It's a beautiful thing. Embrace the fuzzy December.
Yeah, I mean,
People who don't know what the fuck we're talking about, are like, what is a fuzzy December? It just means, Chris Davis, if you care about the game enough, it comes out December
Jesus.
31st. Put it on your list next year.
okay.
If
It
it-
just
if
it
it
just
holds
means that Nick can put Callisto Protocol on his list next year instead of this year.
I'm
Because
not
you know
doing
that's
that.
going to happen.
I actually I love I
He
love that we're
compared
honoring.
it to Days Gone earlier. It's happening.
No.
everyone. It's happening.
No. I did not mean to compare to Days Gone so that I would imply that it was going to be on my list or that it was going to be that. I was strictly
Number
talking
one.
about. Strictly talking about it's a. Never mind. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
You're
Chris
taking
Davis,
the bait. I love it.
We've gone on the journey of the Callisto Protocol several times
Yeah.
on the Discord. So
Chained Echoes is my fuzzy December game. I'm calling it right
That
now.
also might be my fuzzy December game too.
but
I'm
I
playing
mean,
it right now.
the other
Yeah.
stress that for me with Game of the Year is just been time. I mean, I have played almost 0 hours of games in the past week. This past weekend, I went down for graduation, so I didn't have time to play anything. And then it's just the rest of this week. I've just been so busy at work trying to wrap up stuff before the holidays start so I can actually do stuff. So yeah, I'm stressed about time. I'm stressed about what?
I'm holding up 7 fingers.
7
These are the
fingers.
number of games that I finished from 2022 this year.
God damn it, Ed.
I mean, you don't have to
God damn
complete a
it.
game to put on your list.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Gotta play at least 30 minutes.
Like I haven't beaten Vampire Survivors, and it's probably gonna be on my list.
God damn it, Crispy. This is under his breath. You gotta play at least 30 minutes. That's fabulous.
Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I really wish we were doing a regular show next week because I do want to talk more about. I wish I gave more time to Potionomics because I really enjoy this game.
Well, don't worry. You'll have more opportunities to talk about it if you so choose.
Y'all should do the preview show the week after, and then the award show the next week.
See, I'm tempted to indulge you just so
Just-
we can make
just-
sure.
Just so
Just so
Chris
we
can play Sports Story and talk
That's the
about
only
it on the
reason?
award show.
Do it.
That's
do
the
it
only
for me,
reason.
Nick.
Reason?
Do it for me, Nick.
It's not selfish at all.
I
Help me.
announced it at the top. I announced it at the beginning of the show, and now you're gonna make me change my word. People who don't make it this far in the podcast are now gonna be thinking all week that the award show's on the 29th, and they're never gonna know because they don't go to 4playernetwork.com and look at the calendar that I update frequently. God damn it! Sorry.
But you're also the editor of the show. You can cut out whatever you want and change whatever
That's
you
true.
want. So
That's true.
Sure.
And make sure it's very obvious. Just like halfway through, go. The
Podcast
award
will be
show
on
is
January
next week.
3rd. Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Chris Davis?
No, that's it.
All right, Crispy.
Okay, well, yeah, you know what I've been doing most of this podcast. I've been playing Vampire Survivor, and
He got further than 30 minutes because he played during the podcast.
I did. I played. Yeah.
This is
I
game
played
of the year now.
I played like an hour and a half now. Mr. Green Toast gifted it to me, so thank you. But don't thank him too hard. It was only $2. He's no fucking hero or anything.
Wait, but did he buy it recently, or was it like
I have a really important question.
No, like earlier today, I posted a list of the 2022 games I haven't played yet, but that I want to play, and Vampire Survivor was one of them. And everyone was like, "You could just be playing that right now here." And then like,
was that list in Discord?
It was in gaming. You posted it in Discord earlier. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Yep. But you know, the thing is, this game is kind of sick. Like, like it's fun now. It is like I don't want to say I get it. Shut the fuck up, Chris Davis. Don't you talk to me like that. The thing is, I'm sorry. The thing is that like I don't know, man. I don't know how to talk myself out of this.
Don't ever tell Brad this. Don't ever.
No, it's fun. It's fun. I'm having fun, man. I'm enjoying it. It's I guess I quote unquote get it, but it's not any different than I thought it was. Like, it's not any different than I thought it was gonna be, right? I just thought that sucked. And it doesn't. It's kind of cool. I get it. Sure, fine. Everyone's talking about it. It's a fun game. I acquiesce to the general consensus. Vampire Survivor is pretty cool.
So I have one question for you, Crispy. I have no problem with the fact that you've been playing Vampire Survivor on this podcast, but I have to ask, did you mute the microphone at least when you were doing that, or am I going to have to like edit out the clickety clacks?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, well, you know, you just never know when I'm going to jump in. You just never know when I'm going to threaten Chris Davis off the cuff. That was a lot harder than I meant it to sound, Chris. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I just love the meta that Chris started this podcast not loving Vampire Survivors and ended it liking Vampire Survivors.
It's pretty good. A solid appreciation. Let's not go putting weird labels on it. You were about to.
I was about to.
You can hear it in your tone.
It's the game is only starting to sink its fangs into you. You will learn to appreciate this.
You bitch.
You know I had to. It was there.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. It's fine. It's good.
Think his fangs.
If the creators of Vampire Survivor were waiting for my opinion, good job. Pretty cool.
But how are the graphics?
Consider them validated. Nope. We're not going down to that rabbit hole. All right, my 4-player minute starts now. I briefly mentioned it earlier. I pre-ordered a PSVR 2. I don't really know why, other than the fact that I think Behemoth looks really cool, and Horizon Call of the Mountain is coming out on it. And I ended up pre-ordering the Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle. So I got that kind of lined up. I figured I'll figure out how I'm going to pay for this before February.
Why is it that the most interesting launch product for this $500 machine that already requires you to invest $500 additional for the console is free patch DLC for a game we played over a year ago?
Okay, well that's what you think is the system seller. That's not as someone who played Resident Evil 7 and completely in VR and absolutely adored that game. That is only the Resident Evil Village VR mode is only slightly on my radar. I'll probably play it because it's a free upgrade or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like I'm in no rush to go replay Resident Evil Village. But like I said, Call of the Mountain, Saints and Sinners 2, Behemoth looks amazing. I hope it delivers. But also, you just know there's gonna be an Astrobot fucking thing on that thing.
Well, you know what's really exciting?
Imagine skipping that.
You know what's really exciting about PSVR 2 though is that this time it has like proper controllers.
Right.
And they're not just like, hey, use those old Move controllers we put out a few years ago that fucking bombed, so now the only ones you can get are the fucking gross used ones you find at a goddamn GameStop that don't hold a charge.
The rubber on top that like absorbs every skin flake that ever touches it.
So stupid.
It's cool. It's cool. I mean, I loved my time with the PSVR because it was like my first VR headset, and I have fond memories of it for that, of course. But this is finally where it's like the PSVR catching up with like the other VR headsets in terms of like instead of tracking your instead of you tracking like the camera, like the camera's tracking your head, you know what I mean? Like
there's accelerometers inside the headset rather than using light to track.
Exactly.
Cool.
And I see what they did with the first
cool
headset, and it's impressive. I like that they're catching up.
It's just the price.
I don't by any means. I do not by any means. I'm kind of ashamed that I pre-ordered it. I do not by any means condone going out and pre-ordering this thing. Obviously, before anybody's used it and can say anything about it. But I will. I'm just saying.
In this economy,
getting one. I'm getting one. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna talk about it on this here podcast, and then I'll make a recommendation on that. But yeah, it's a steep price, and that fucking sucks.
I mean, don't necessarily feel bad about the price at the end of the day. I mean, I spent $1,000 on a Index, and that's just my Half-Life Alyx machine. That's all it does. So,
okay, like come on, that's you. That's a you problem.
It's
not like there isn't a bunch of like VR games you could be playing on Steam right now.
You know what you should be playing on Steam? Stormland. That was an incredible VR game.
That was a fun game.
I stand by that. I love that game. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Ed, thank you for joining us. I know you're going to be out of town for a couple weeks. Hopefully we can have you on again very, very soon. Maybe for the preview show in January.
I love that show.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But to those of y'all listening at home, again, probably no podcast next week. We might do something. I don't know. We might do like a community night or hangout or whatever, but don't expect a podcast next week. And then the week after that, the 29th, probably our award show. I'm saying probably just for Ed and Chris Davis' sake, but it's like 99% sure it's probably going to be our award show. And again, keep an eye out for our Game of the Year videos. We're going to be doing honorable mentions, which will be rolling out as YouTube shorts. They're very brief, but it's a fun new way to get some of these other games out there to highlight that don't quite make our list, so keep your eyes peeled for those. We'll share them on YouTube and Twitter and Discord at discord.gg/4Player. Make sure you're there, especially now that Twitter is falling apart at the fucking seams. Make sure you're in our goddamn Discord, please, because Twitter sucks now. I don't know if you knew that. It sucks.
Literally hasn't changed.
I don't know.
Always sucked, and it still works. So
it's always sucked.
People still got batshit crazy takes. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Carlos hasn't been banned yet.
I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe holiday, and we will see you afterwards for our award show. In the meantime, be good to each other. Stay safe, play video games, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Thanks for voting.
Thanks for voting.